Ooh.
Queens.
These headphones work.
Huh?
Do these headphones work?
They should. Not hearing anything?
Nope. Nothing.
Alright, we have time.
These are the ones that were over there. Yep. Test, test, test.
I never really am at this part of the setup.
Yeah, I know this one is always finicky. That's fine. No big deal.
Well, maybe we could find something potentially.
Nah. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
It's all good.
I can cue you in for like going into segments.
Ooh. Sure.
For some for some things, I'm gonna cut you early. For live reads.
That's
'Cause
fine.
We have those as well.
Just give me a countdown.
Okay. For those of you just tuning in now, good morning. How's your day been? Well, probably just starting.
Probably just getting
Probably
getting
just
going.
getting off, but hopefully it's a good start. Hopefully you didn't like stub your toe on the way to the bathroom or something.
Gosh, that'd be like one of the worst ways to start the morning.
I would want to go back to sleep for the rest of the day.
Like
Immediately just hit the reset button.
that's like any amount of like rolling out of bed, stubbing your toe, hitting your head, hitting your hand, anything like that is just day starting over worthy.
One thing that's happened to me more times than I'd like to admit is like I'll just be walking past a door or like walking through a door and like the back of my hand will directly hit the doorknob. And I don't know why, but it hurts so bad.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
How's that possible?
I'm just walking, bro. I'm just walking. But it hurts so bad. It's painful. You want me to go find another pair of headphones?
I'm gonna see what I can find. I know this jack is like all types of funky. Let's see if this jack works. Test, 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 test.
Well, you're not going to hear it because we're not live.
Oh, I'm not gonna hear it.
You're not going to hear it until I put you live.
Oh,
That's when you'll start hearing yourself.
that makes a lot more sense.
Oh.
Could have led with that.
Oops. It's my first day back, too. Yeah, you pretty much don't need to wear headphones unless we're live. I need to just to keep up with the live stuff or commercials and all that jazz. Like that.
Hey, look, it works.
You might want to turn down your headphones volume now. Alright, we're going to be live in just a little bit.
Okay. He's got like a 6-minute intro, doesn't he?
Give or take. Just give a... I mean, you know what to do, right?
What's that?
You know what to do, right? Like, for this segment?
Yeah, it's
Just a rundown.
Yeah.
Just talk shop.
rundown, talk shop. You and I can talk a little bit of Christmas adventures.
Mm-hmm. Are you hearing this? I don't either. What the heck?
Oh, hear it now. It's all good.
All right.
Good morning, everybody. This is Talk 107.3 FM Mornings with Brian Haldane, although Brian is not in this morning. You are listening to Patty G and Jake. This is our show this morning. We're taking over.
We're taking the reins.
It's going to be interesting, Jake. Are you ready for this?
I think so. Are you?
I don't know. I'm nervous, man.
Hey, don't be nervous. Come on now. It's only talk
First-
radio.
It's only talk radio. No dead air.
Yeah, you just got to entertain people 3 hours straight.
3 hours, man.
3 whole hours.
It's like a Marvel movie.
With a lot less explosions and a slightly smaller budget.
I think we have a much lower budget. No more visual effects. No visual anything except if you're on the YouTube Live.
We don't have a green screen either.
I think we could draw something up in the background.
we could give it a try.
We'll give it a try. Nonetheless, we've got a full show coming your way. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm not a big sports guy, but however, we do have a sports segment. Jake and I are going to talk a little bit about the New Orleans Saints, or what was left of them from the game this past week.
Yeah.
I mean, just
That was a little brutal.
totally brutal. We're going to take a look back at some of 2021's biggest stories. Also, we're going to have our normal Patty G segment in the business sector. We're going to talk about 10 potential New Year's resolutions going into 22 for small businesses. We're going to have some small business insights for 2022, how you can prepare as a business owner, and also some interesting facts about 401k programs right here in Baton Rouge. Then we're going to hit your top stories and trending. I've got a guest coming in after that, Joshua Anderson. We're going to talk about some NFT space in Baton Rouge, what that looks like, some projects he's got going on. We'll give a little glimpse of something happening from the outside in, as Brian always does. Then Jake's going to hit us with some This Day in History.
As always.
As always. And then we're going to round out the final hour with Barrett Blondo of Falaya Real Estate. We're going to talk about how he's investing some of his hard-earned capital into a different sector that a lot of businesses aren't necessarily doing as of yet. But maybe it's something for 2022. You'll have to stay tuned and find out.
That's a good teaser. I like that. I actually am very interested right now.
Well, good, Jake. That's the whole point, man. But we're after Christmas. Last worker day of the year for some people. How was your holiday season, Jake?
I'd say it's pretty good. Got to spend some time with family, get some nice, much-needed R&R, and yeah, I think the batteries are recharged and ready to go for 2022.
Batteries, everything's recharged with the exception of your voice.
Yes, a little hoarse. I don't know if it shows in air, but went to Universal recently. Screamed my lungs out. It was a good time. I had fun.
I love that, man. I learned you're actually from Florida. You're not even from the Baton Rouge area.
Correct. I have family from here, and I went to LSU, so I've lived here for a long time. But
Roots are in Florida.
yeah.
Was the weather any better? This year was a weird Christmas for my family and I. We were having a casual Christmas. I wore shorts and a T-shirt. That was the Christmas attire.
See, cold for Florida is you have to wear socks. So it's the thing is for me is Louisiana, like, it was really, really cold about 1 or 2 weeks ago, so I was expecting cold, and then some
Same.
days it'll be 80. Florida, I have no expectation of it being cold. Maybe like an ocean breeze, but like even then, it's like, okay, maybe you need to put on like, I don't know, like a little hoodie or sweater on, but you're taking that thing off in
fleece,
15 minutes
windbreaker.
anyway. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I was in the same boat with you. I was all prepped and ready. I had my vest in the closet, freshly steamed, ready to go for Christmas Day. I was just all about it.
The vest steamed.
So, and on that, someone actually got my son Quentin a vest for Christmas.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So he's probably a couple weeks away from being able to wear it, but when he does, it's going to be legendary.
The picture, we'll have to get a picture of that, and we'll put that on the screen next time you're in for the Patty G show.
Oh, certainly.
Segment.
Certainly. We're going to have this father and son vest duo, the sleeveless dynamic. Those that only warm their core.
I don't think Talk 107.3 is ready for that.
I don't think anyone's ready for it.
You're probably right.
I mean, next thing we know, we're going to have some Patty G show vests coming in and out. I mean, that's what I'm looking forward
Branded?
to. Oh, absolutely
We're gonna
branded.
have some Patty G merch.
Oh, you know it, man.
Oh my
2022 on the
gosh.
horizon, Patty G vest coming
Big
your way.
things
Big
planned
things.
for Patrick Gremillion.
All right, Jake. Well, I think we got our first break coming up, and when we get back, New Orleans Saints. Hot takes on them. Were they really out there playing football, or was it more of a high school scrimmage? That is the question left to be answered. So, I don't know, man. We'll have to find out. They had some really, really rough articles, just utterly destroying them, Roger Goodell, the whole NFL franchise.
There's a lot to talk about in the next segment.
There is. I'm going to do my best to keep up. I won't be able to give it a play-by-play. I'm not that good with sports. You know, I know a few names, mostly Drew Brees playing golf in Florida. But, you know, other than that, we'll see what's coming up right after this.
Sweet. Good start. Yeah. No comments on that. It was great.
Cool. Morning, Renee. Morning, Byron. What are your superhero names and powers? Says Tiffany. This is a Marvel movie.
Oh, man. Oh.
Vest Man. Yes, Byron. That's what it is. Vest Man.
Oh, you got it good there.
Easy superhero name. What is my power?
What does your... No, but it comes from the vest. It has
Right.
to come from the vest.
His power is the ability to keep a stable core temperature in cold weather. But it's all derived from the vest. It's not a power bestowed on me specifically.
No,
it's
like,
within the vest.
It's the Iron Man suit, but it's
Yes.
all in the vest. It is entirely contained to that whatever material you choose on that given
the
day.
fleece, the feathers. I'm not really sure.
You could go life jacket route too. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah. No, you see, the life jacket, that power for the life jacket is the buoyancy, right? Mm-hmm. The ability to float. The vest is keeping the core warm in the cold temperatures. I like that. Vest Man.
I think we're onto something here.
All right, now we just need a superpower for you.
I don't know. I have like powers that like if someone asked me like what kind of superpower I'd want to have, I'd have an answer. But like,
So what's the superpower you want to have? Let's work backwards.
okay, I would say it's boring, but like either flight.
Flight. Okay.
Actually, no. The first one I'd want is the Force, which is kind of copping out. But like, dude, you can't tell me you wouldn't want the Force.
I mean,
Telekinesis, I guess.
the Force, telekinesis, flight. See, I like the flight thing.
Flight's just so generic. It's like, oh, I want to be invisible. I want to be able to fly. I want to be super strong. It's like, yeah, we all want that. But like, what's like something niche that like would be so useful?
Yeah, what is unique that actually would serve a good purpose outside of keeping your core warm naturally?
Yeah.
You know, I feel like flying. I mean, you could get places quicker.
Well, here we could play off like the duality of it. Like, you know, you're the fire, I'll be the ice. Like I can have like freeze powers or something.
Ooh, so now we're going.
Because that's
more
always like when
Human
I was,
Inferno and Iceman. So did you ever play Marvel Studios? Not Avengers. What is?
Marvel vs. Capcom.
No.
That's a fighting game.
Ultimate Alliance. You never played Ultimate Alliance?
No.
It was on Xbox, original Xbox, and PlayStation 2.
I did have the PlayStation 2,
Dude.
but I never played those games. I played like Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Okay, yeah. Star Wars, naturally, but no, Ultimate Alliance. They're coming out with a new Ultimate Alliance. I think Ultimate Alliance 3 is what I heard they're coming out with. I completely missed Ultimate Alliance 2. But being able to choose your characters and your Marvel superhero, Iceman was always my go-to.
Yeah?
My brother would pick Deadpool. My other brother would pick Wolverine. It was interesting, to say the least. I feel like they need brighter lights in here.
I could turn them up.
I mean, just like looking at the Facebook Live, it's like so dim. I don't know. It's got to load first.
Fair enough.
Got to catch up.
All right, looks like we're going to have about 4 minutes to talk shop.
Okay, what's the hard out?
20.
Okay. That's morning. Talk 107.3 FM, mornings with Brian Haldane, except we've got Patty G and Jake filling in for him. He's taking a much-needed vacation this week, and he's going to finish out the new year on vacation, hit you strong next week coming into 2022. I'm sure he's going to be excited to get back in the chair.
A lot planned for 2022, actually, for this show.
Oh, really?
We're going to have some bonus content on YouTube. He's got a whole thing mapped out. We're not going to give too much away, at least I don't want to speak for him, but we got some good stuff planned for 2022. So
he'll tease it next week. Let everybody know.
Like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Mornings with Brian Haldane. I'm just gonna give that quick plug real quick.
Like, share, and subscribe. The natural plug. But Jake, we're here to talk sports.
Sports, indeed.
My least knowledgeable topic. I'm gonna go ahead and preface that with this.
The good thing about this segment is specifically when we're talking about the Saints and the Dolphins. That wasn't exactly, like, our talking points aren't exactly going to be what's on the field. It's what happened off the field.
Yes.
What happened before and after the game.
Yeah, so I found an article on LTV.com written by Ralph Malbrough, and he says there was no other possible way for the New Orleans Saints Monday Night Football game to go except the disastrous way it did. The NFL should be embarrassed. And from hearing that and reading and seeing the highlights, I mean, it makes sense.
It was a calamity.
Like, it was not NFL quality football.
It was
At least from what I saw.
A lot of it had the vibe of a pickup game at times.
A pickup game, maybe a game you would see on like a Thursday afternoon after you finish your Thanksgiving dinner with your family. You know, you're out there with your Uncle Jim trying to throw the football, and you got little Susie Q. It's like 6 years old as a receiver. That's what it looks like. I mean, when you look at the locker room talk, they said they had someone with a direct quote saying, "Hey, Bob, what size helmet do you need? Do you need socks, or did you get a nice pair for Christmas?" Like, come on. Like, you don't even have socks and helmets for these players?
This is a multi-billion-dollar business industry sport, and
But I think the bigger question then is with how COVID has impacted football. I think that's kind of the takeaway, the impact that COVID's had with, 20 players being sidelined, not being able to play, coaches not being able to be there. You didn't have the true Saints that you've normally had all season.
Oh, not even close.
Like, you had a practice squad with people trying to figure out what is a non-practice helmet, what is a non-practice cleat.
Every week we're learning about, like, I'm keeping up with the Saints, obviously. Every single week I'm hearing new players pick up off of waivers or free agency or just people I've never even heard of that are getting short-term contracts with the Saints because of just how badly COVID has impacted sports in general, not just football at this point. We could go broader, but we're talking about Saints right now, and the Saints got it bad all season.
They do.
Not just the injury bug, but COVID as well. At one point, I remember a good friend of me telling me this. We had enough players on that COVID list to field an entire team, both offense and defense, a full lineup.
And that, to me, like,
it's really bad.
If
That's
I'm
half the team.
If I'm a person on the practice squad, I'm doing my very best.
Because that's your chance.
That's your chance to get up and go up in the ranks, right?
I mean, there are positives for those guys, but for the fans that want to see the highest quality of sport played week in, week out, because that's, what we've grown to expect over the last decades and decades.
Yeah, as fans, you want the best game experience.
And we're not getting that.
Yeah, I don't think Monday night had that.
The best teams aren't winning games anymore. It's who got hit by COVID the least.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen, but that's all the time we got for sports. Blew through that. We'll be right back after this.
Nice.
Cool. That was sports.
Sports done.
Sports out of here.
And we're never talking about it again.
Yeah, normally I watch every Saints game. Like this year has been my best year of actually watching football since I've been in this is my 4th year being in a fantasy football league. Been watching more football, but what was I doing Monday? Oh, I was golfing, so I didn't get back in time to actually start watching the game. So that makes a lot of sense why I didn't watch the Saints game. Did anybody else watch the Saints game? Was that a misrepresentation of how the game was on the YouTube live?
Talk 107.3.
What'd they say?
I'm not repeating that. It was very mean. I'm not paying attention to that.
About us? Really?
Don't pay it any mind, man.
Did he at least say his name?
I didn't give it time.
Oh, jeez. A lot of expletives being dropped.
Let's just move on.
Okay.
All right. What do we have next?
Next, we've got 2021 biggest stories.
Interesting. I'll pull that up for myself.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff around like Louisiana
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah. No, like
Okay.
South Louisiana specifically. Yeah.
Okay. Cool beans. Don't need that.
It's like a look back over the year that we've had.
There's been a lot of highlights and lowlights, I guess. I'm going to cut you out at 30 because we have a live read. So, yeah, we'll be good after that.
5 minutes. Okay. Silver.
Let's do this.
$624.25. I'm sorry. Talk 107.3. Mornings with Brian Haldane. This is Patty G and Jake holding it down for Brian while he is on vacation.
Yes, sir.
Enjoying a much-needed post-Christmas between New Year's time. I feel like that's a weird time of year, man.
Because it's in between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah,
So
like
it's
you
that
get the high,
purgatory.
you get the high of Christmas, and then you come down for a week right before you get into the new year.
I have a quick question. I've
Yeah.
actually been wondering this. Is it okay to listen to Christmas music after Christmas?
Of course.
I think so, but like,
Give it the whole month of December.
I think that's fair.
That's my take on it. You get the
But,
whole
like,
month of December to listen to Christmas
I
music.
don't know. It feels like I'm taking Christmas music almost for granted during the Christmas season. And then Christmas happens, and then it's Boxing Day or December 26th. And I'm like, well, it's not Christmas anymore. Like, can I listen? Or
It's an
is it-
eerie
is it
feeling,
weird?
right?
Or like I hear Christmas music in, on the radio or, just walking around, and I'm like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same because it's obviously Christmas has passed, but
Well, let me ask you
we
this.
can't celebrate New Year's because it's obviously still 2021.
How long do you leave your Christmas tree up?
See, that's tough because I don't have a Christmas tree at where I live. But with my family,
How long does your family leave their Christmas tree up?
they probably take it down within a month.
Okay.
Within a month
So-
or maybe a few weeks.
So
It
before
depends.
the end of January?
Yeah, they'll definitely have it down by then.
See, I think so long as you've got your Christmas tree up, it's appropriate to play Christmas music.
I like that take. I think I'm going to stick with that.
Because you're still in the Christmas spirit. You walk in the house, you see the Christmas tree.
Holly
You still get those
and
that holiday cheer. But, you can't play for the whole year.
No,
You got to stop at some point.
no.
So, but we've had some incredible stories this year, some good, some bad. And I found an article in The Advocate written by Timothy Boone that kind of laid out 10 of the top stories in South Louisiana for 2021. We won't be able to get to all of them, but we will be able to get to some. The biggest hard hitter that some people are still probably feeling the aftermath about is Hurricane Ida.
Yeah, that's definitely the most abundant story for the state of Louisiana this year.
So he goes on to say, Louisiana's gross domestic product, a measure of all goods and services the state produces, shrank by 2.7% in the third quarter in 2021, according to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis. Only two other states, New Hampshire and North Dakota, saw their economies contract by more than that. So we were the third most contracted economy in 2021, most in part for the third quarter due to Hurricane Ida. I mean, I know that millions of people were without power. Power lines were just thrown about like toothpicks all over the state. It was just an absolute tragedy.
People lost power. People lost their homes. Like I know several people, some friends, some family that either blew roofs or they're figuring out what to do next.
Yeah, it's something that
horrible.
in South Louisiana we're all too familiar with, hurricane season. And this year we got hit with a doozy, something that will be felt for probably years and years to come.
Yeah, it's truly a shame.
And next up on the list is that the impacts of COVID are still being felt all throughout the state. Quote, in the spring, the state lifted the strict occupancy limits that had been put on businesses to control the spread of the disease, but that created a new headache, finding enough workers to meet customer demands.
Yeah, the whole service industry specifically.
They're still battling that out. That's something that's been throughout the entire year, still being played into effect. You've got more jobs than actual people that are unemployed at the moment.
And you're trying to entice potential employees with a good pay, but even then, they're still not taking it.
I know, like you're
It's so
you're
bizarre.
$10, you're $15 an hour. You're still trying so hard to fill those gaps.
Unless you're a staple of the community or a well-known chain, it is very, very difficult to keep or even obtain employees.
Yeah, it's just
I don't-
forever
I don't know if it
continuing.
gets fixed. I hope it does, but
I sure hope so.
I mean, it's no secret that like what's happening right now is something that pretty much none of us have ever felt in our lifetimes, and so we're finding effects that none of us foresaw come last March.
No.
Or even, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Stuff that we wouldn't have even thought about when it comes to a global pandemic like this. We're now seeing effects of stuff like that, which has heavily impacted many industries. Like we just talked about sports. That's a huge impact. Service industry, and there's plenty more on top of that.
But there is someone investing a lot of money and dollars and space and energy into Baton Rouge, and that is Amazon. Amazon
Yes.
making its mark on South Louisiana. Amazon continued to expand its presence in South Louisiana as the online giant started construction of a high-profile facility in Baton Rouge. What they're doing over there at the Cortana Mall, I think is going to be huge and powerful for not only the local economy, but even the land sales around the Cortana
Oh, it's
Mall,
just
if
gonna
people
bring in
anticipating it, you've got car washes, you've got restaurants, you've got other box stores going there, anticipating the 1,000 workers that they're going to have in that plant.
That is a very positive spin. Or not spin, but
It's a very positive take on
lot
what
to look
happened in
forward to.
21. Absolutely. That, and with the housing market still coming in so hot, millennials having more money, wanting to start buying homes, get into real estate, there are positives to look back on in 2021. And so with that, we'll take a break.
nice. Morning to you, Bob.
Morning. Byron Nichols on the YouTube Live. I'd like to think my superpower is irritating Brian just enough that he still tolerates me. That is a good superpower to have. Tiffany Summer says you can listen to Christmas music as long as it's not Mariah Carey. Oh, Tiffany, why are you hating on Mariah? Come on now. Why you got to hate on Mariah Carey? What's your take on Mariah Carey?
Her song's a banger. She's gonna be rich for the rest of her life because it's the most popular.
It's a timeless
Christmas song.
classic, man.
I have nothing specific against her. There we go. I don't know. Sorry about that. I had to deal with that.
That's fine.
I don't know. One time, so my mom was a huge Mariah Carey fan, and she was very excited she got to go to a concert of hers. And after every single song, like, I wasn't there, I'm not gonna die on this hill, this is just what she told me. She would always, like, after every single song, she would never go into another song. She would, like, take a 5-minute break and, like, reapply makeup or powder her nose or something like that. Like, you know, I guess on brand stuff, but eventually the crowd was like, okay, come on, like, really? Like, can you please, like, perform? So, and also she's kind of known as not cool as, like, a person. Granted, I don't know her as a person, so I can't judge her like that, but yeah. I like more of the older Christmas songs. That's more featured in my playlists. What about you?
So, I mean, she's got the classic that'll never go away. I can't say I know a whole lot of her other music, to be honest. Like, the main songs that I know from her, or song that I know from her is the All I Want for Christmas, you know? Like, that's about all I can think of off the top of my head. But it's around forever and ever. And how many times does that thing get streamed on Spotify or Apple
lot.
Music during the Christmas season?
I don't know. There's other things I worry about more than Mariah Carey, but she's definitely not like yeah, I can't listen to that song every single day,
No.
even during Christmas. for me.
There comes a cap.
It's a vibe, it's a bop, it's a great song objectively speaking. I guess for me the only drawback is I'm having trouble separating the art from the artist. And that's probably just on me. Great song though. What is your favorite Christmas song?
I like Carol of the Bells.
It's a good one. There's really not a wrong answer, I don't think.
Yeah. I like a lot of Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Man of culture.
Jam
I
out
see.
some Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Hold on one sec. Her Cribs episode, Tiffany? I'll have to look at Mariah Carey's Cribs episode.
Cribs?
I didn't know she was on Cribs. Tiffany says the decorations come down by Epiphany. I can agree to that.
Hi, Lars Larson. Alright, so we're gonna have like kind of a hard break at 47 because on the stack it's gonna have about 3 minutes worth of commercials, and then 50 is like a hard, like you have to be able to hit at 50.
Yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, it's gonna be 47 for this hour, but then the next hours it's 50.
Yeah, that's all good.
By the way, I know I just kind of had a very long ramble and probably didn't word it best on my take on Mariah Carey. No hate if you like her or her music.
Oh yeah,
by the way.
sure. No
I
hate on her.
I am never going to convince someone to not like something that they care about. I will never do that. Unless they are like objectively a terrible person, which I don't believe she is. A terrible person.
We're going to do the small business insights for 2022. So hard break at 47.
Mm-hmm.
What, a 9-minute segment? 9-minute segment?
Mm-hmm.
Also, what time do you have? Is this clock accurate?
So, right now it is 6:37 now, exactly.
So this is 8 seconds.
Hold on, let me see something.
8 seconds ahead.
Usually they have like a clock up there that's like it's never wrong, like it's a forever clock.
Ooh, that's off. Now it's on.
All right, we're heading back in.
Okay. I just know that's gonna.
I'll guide you.
Six 6:38 a.m. Talk 107.3 FM mornings with Brian Haldane. Although this is not Brian Haldane, this is Patty G and Jake filling in for him on this lovely Thursday morning. For me, it's the last worker day of the year. For some, it's the last worker day of the year. For some, they've had off the entire week. Depends on what field you're in. But as we take a look at the year and it winds down, we look forward to the upcoming year in 2022 and what small businesses can look for, how they can strategize, and some plans that they can make. So I found an article on thestreet.com about Small Business Insights 2022 is the year pivot becomes permanent. So if anybody is in business or owning your own business, you know that 2021 was the year of the pivot. We had to learn how to work outside of the office. We had to learn how to work inside of the office with new protocols. For some, they had to rearrange desks. For some, they had to put up partitions and walls for safety measures. And for others, we decided to go completely virtual. You know, it's a matter of what the business was able to feel comfortable doing and what they were able to communicate to their employees and how their workload was able to get handled. But one of the ideas for going into 2022 is that the pivot to digital is to become permanent. Almost 9 out of 10 small businesses say online sales will be an important source of revenue in 2022. So for those local retail shops, maybe having a stronger online presence is something that you can plan for the next year. I know in my daily work of the CPA world, I'm having conversations with retail shops about what can they do for, not having people through the door. How can they operate safely with those that do come in? And the biggest thing for them is telling them, look, you need to figure out a way to get your products online in front of your customers in a way that you haven't been able to do in the past, or a way that you haven't thought of doing in the past because you were so busy with people in the store, you just couldn't leave them aside. You had to tend to the customers, you had to make the sales. But now those sales are shifting to online. People are doing everything online. This is the probably second year in a row I've done all of my Christmas shopping and completely online.
It's just
everything is online.
It's just more convenient. You can find so much more at a click of a button than going to any single store.
But you can still support your local small businesses so long as they've got a good enough website that you can navigate and actually purchase the goods if you're doing online shopping.
Which previously wasn't the case as far as being that important of having a good website and good UI for example.
Yeah, no, it was not the case for having the website wasn't always necessary if you had a good brick and mortar shop, right? Mm-hmm. You could have people come to the door. That's where you're making your sales. But now you've got to figure out a way to reach those people via their phones. And one of the ways we've talked about many a times on the show with Brian on Thursdays is the social media part. So social media is going to be a vital source of revenue for companies going into 2022. Whether you're a trade business that you offer services rather than goods, you got to get a social media presence out there. You have to sell your services in a way that you haven't done before. Mm-hmm. If you're a referral-only business, you've got to figure out a way to get those referrals beyond word of mouth. How can you get your products online, get your services online? You've got your channels such as Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter, your TikTok.
Even TikTok now, you can market yourself.
Oh my gosh, yes. Marketing yourself especially for your services can be huge. I can't tell you how many videos that people will sit there and watch for hours and hours that are so satisfying for grass cutters, pool manufacturers,
pool cleaners.
Oh
Pool
cleaners are a huge hit.
Great.
They go viral. Your plumbing videos also go viral whenever they have the cleaning. You're able to see that pipe finally get clean and blow free. It's very nice to see that. And it's a matter of how can you pivot in 2022 to make your services online or accessible online. I feel like if 21 showed us anything, it's that we can adapt, pivot, and just make it permanent.
I think this is the chance for a lot of local businesses to really, for lack of a better term, go off. Like, go from just being something small. If you market yourself correctly in this day and age, for this, like you're saying, it's a pivot. We're experiencing very big changing times. If you are able to adapt quicker than others, your business will thrive.
Right, and I think a lot of people thought the pivots were going to be temporary this year. They thought, we'll only have to work outside the office for 3 or 4 or 5 days a week. We'll be able to get back once COVID settles down. But if anything, over the last couple of weeks, especially the last week, has shown it's less. Exactly. So now your pivots are now going to have to be permanent decisions and permanent policies in place. For those people operating in the businesses, in the offices, you have to have safety protocols in place. Mm-hmm. You have to have procedures in place to make sure that you have a safe crew that is able to get their job done effectively without having any hiccups. Because if one person in the office gets COVID and you're working in close proximity, then everybody's got it, and now your whole workforce is out for however long.
And nowadays, you can't proceed with your business thinking that things will go back to normal. If you do that, then it's not good.
Riding out the storm is no longer an option.
Exactly. You have to pretend as if like this has changed forever. You need to adjust to that. I mean, who knows if things go back to the way they were, or if we find a happy medium between where things are now and where before. But right now, you got to stay with what's happening in the moment.
100%. And now one thing that hopefully will resolve itself in time is the supply chain issues that are happening. With all of the materials and the shipping and equipment that are coming in overseas, maybe it's a time to take a look at what is manufactured here in the States. It's already we already understand it's a higher cost. That's why a lot of people buy overseas, because it's less expensive. But now it's looking at, is it still significantly higher to purchase goods and services in the States that are manufactured in the States? I don't think it is if you're sitting there waiting for 3 weeks to get your goods. I know retail shops weren't able to have a lot of their normal goods on the shelves for Christmas just because it was stuck in a port, right? Mm-hmm. And now going into 22, maybe it's time to reevaluate your supply chain. Maybe it's time to reevaluate where you're purchasing your goods that you're selling. Maybe it's time for distributors of those goods and services to reevaluate how they get their stuff. Maybe that Made in USA stamp is going to be a lot more prevalent in the 2022 year, and how people are going to just have to stop buying overseas.
I think 2022 is going to be a year of reflection, kind of like a reality check within businesses, and how you put bread on the table. Is what you're doing working right now? And if not, what is trending towards making that a reality? Giving yourself that business. Things are changing, man, and it's not sink or swim. Maybe it is. I don't own a small business, so I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. But
and another thing that's going to continue to be rampant in 2022 is wage increase and cost of goods increase. It's not a matter of, we'll wait till prices go down. We'll wait and see if we can still hire somebody for $10, $11 an hour. Depending on the job, you probably still can. But as an employer, it's time to really take a hard look at what you're paying your employees. Are you still able to hire candidates? Are people still seeking out your business as a place of employment at the current rates you're offering? And if not, maybe it's time to make that shift.
What can you do to make your business more desirable to work at?
I know we talked about a plumber, about a month or so ago, that had a billboard in Ascension Parish, $10,000 signing bonus. People are getting not necessarily desperate, or maybe they are desperate to get these people hired. $10,000 signing bonus,
I mean,
it's going to be hard to pass up as a person in that workforce looking for that type of skilled labor. I think it's going to be a shift. In fact, if you're not looking at how you can increase your benefits, how you can increase your hourly rate or your salary rate for these employees, you're going to end up with a labor shortage if you don't already have one.
It's going to be very difficult for you.
So in 22, see what you can do, increase those rates, add on signing bonuses. We're going to have to take a look at it. We'll be right back after the break.
Nice. Okay. So when I give you a countdown, you can go out whenever it feels natural to you.
Okay.
But when I'm not giving you a countdown like you have to be out by then. I'm counting you down to stop there.
Gotcha.
And then the signals, right? 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 10 down to 1.
Gotcha. I saw 10 come up, and then I was like, then 5 come up. I was like, wait, where are the 5 seconds?
Yeah.
Where did the 5 seconds go?
Do you want me to give you all the way from 10 down to 1, numbers? Because I usually do 10, wait a few seconds, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, just do from 10 out.
Okay.
If you can.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yes, Byron. And that is another thing that we're gonna talk about after the break is office practices and how automating certain systems and certain procedures is another path for 22, that if you don't already have automated processes in place, that's what you've got to do going into the new year. Figure out what can be automated and what you can do without a person actually behind the desk or behind the machine or behind the wheel operating it.
Because, even with what we're doing, we could have, you could host this from your house as long as there was me here to link that together. We could have every single one of these stations rolling with just maybe one person, maybe even no one in here. Landscape's changing drastically. And it's weird. I can only imagine what it's like being an owner of a local business that's stood for decades, never having to deal with anything like this. And, it's a sad reality that some people are actually just straight up losing their business.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Just because they don't want to adapt.
Or they can't. Maybe they don't have the ability, the facilities to do that. It's a shame, to put it lightly. But I don't know. It's tricky to talk about it on air for me just because, I'm not that old. I haven't been around the block as much as probably the people listening. So I don't want to come off as ignorant at all. But
And
as
see,
someone who's growing up in this stuff, like, it
Yeah.
really feels like it's sink or swim for people to adapt to
No, it is,
technology.
And so, like,
If you
my-
don't, you're gonna fall behind, and that's it. That's a wrap.
And so my day job is being a CPA, right? So having these conversations with employers of you got to make tough decisions. You've got to make a decision on whether or not you're going to continue the way that you have been, or make the pivot, make the switch.
Have you ever hosted this show before?
Once.
How long ago?
3 months ago?
I guess just before I got here then.
Yeah.
Well, 3 months.
Yeah, 3 or 4 months, something like that. But I didn't keep the rundown like Brian had it. So I made it more kind of like my show, where I had like 3 different guests come in, and I just was talking with them about their business and different topics. Whereas this, I'm trying to go through Brian's rundown and keep it the same, as close to the same as possible. Which clearly for some is not good.
For some. And some people need to get over themselves.
I always love to go back with, all right, I'm gonna put you on air. You run the show.
I don't want this guy running the show. I'd get fired. God knows what this dude would say.
So many FCC violations.
Yeah. I know plenty about that. Not from experience. I was just told what that stuff is and why you shouldn't do an oopsie. All right.
.652 Talk 107.3 FM. Mornings with Brian Haldane. Jake and Patty G filling in for Brian while he's enjoying some much-needed vacation. That man just works so much.
He works a lot.
Like
a lot.
He's always working every time I see him. I mean, he's posting these updates for the next morning's show at like 8, 9 o'clock at night on his Twitter. It baffles me and blows me away, the type of work ethic that he's got.
I mean, sometimes
truly incredible.
I'll get emails at probably 10 o'clock in the evening, maybe even later, about details for the show the next morning. I'm like, dude, you got to get some sleep. Like, we're on at 6.
But he runs through with no sleep, right?
More or less.
Minimal amount of sleep. Look, 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep. You can get a lot done in that amount of time with that amount of energy.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. I'm fresh, recent college graduate here. I kind of know plenty about that part.
But is it the norm? Should workers expect to only operate off 5 or 6 hours? Should employers expect to only operate on 5 or 6 hours going into the new year? Is sleep going to be a priority for business owners? Is making sure your staff is happy and healthy part of that agenda? Well, for some Baton Rouge businesses and for some businesses all across the nation, one of their focuses going into the 2022 new year, is automatically enrolling employees in 401k plans. So, Jake, let me ask you this.
Let's hear it.
If you were automatically enrolled in a 401k, A, do you know what a 401k is?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a retirement plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
An employer-sponsored retirement plan.
Yes.
So if your employer says, hey, I'm gonna roll you in our 401k, we're going to contribute, X amount for you each pay period, each month, whatever the interval is, would that be something you'd be happy with, or is that something you'd want to opt out of?
I mean, it's just an added benefit, right?
It is. So the Daily Report says more employers are putting their workers' retirement savings on autopilot automatically enrolling new hires into their 401k plan, CNBC reports. According to the Trade Group Plan Sponsor Council of America, about 62% of companies with a 401k plan used automatic enrollment in 2020, up from 60% in 2019 and 46% a decade ago. The practice leverages worker behavior to their advantage. Workers can receive a paper or digital notification ahead of time and can opt out, but most do not. We talk about what you can do going into the new year to retain staff, to encourage new workers to come on board for your business. I think this is an excellent idea.
Yeah, I mean,
I think having these benefits is truly incredible if you can afford it, right? Some small businesses may not be able to afford a 401k plan, but when you're looking at a workforce or a work shortage for your employees and you're trying to get competitive, your sign-on bonuses are only going to last one time, right? You've got to figure out a way, which the automatic 401k enrollment is a great way to do that, of how to get your employees around for the long term, how to get them thinking about retirement before it's anywhere close to that time in their life. How to say, look, stay on with us for X number of years, and now you're going to have this retirement package. You're going to have this sweet little savings account that you can tap into whenever it comes time to retirement.
And especially nowadays, having long-term stability in whatever form, I mean, you got to take that.
Right.
It's only a good thing, unless there's something I'm missing. It sounds like it should be only a good thing.
Now, the question then comes, though, to the hospitality industry, right? One of your highest turnover industries, your restaurants, your bars. They have such high turnover. Offering benefits such as this can get pricey. Adding new employees, figuring out how to let them go and, take them off of benefits is challenging task, to say the least. When bars had to close this year, how do you keep your people employed? How do you keep paying them if you don't have any revenue coming in? 21 was a rough year for bars and restaurants. But if you can have an incentive program for them and say, look, you work with us, you stay with us for so many months or years, you are going to be automatically enrolled to a 401k. Now you're taking what would be a summer or a semester-long job for that person and turning it into a possible career opportunity for them. I know with Citigroup Hospitality here in Baton Rouge, that's one of their focal points. How can we get people to make a career out of the hospitality industry? How can we get people to stay around for the long term and not just come in for a semester or even a year and then leave to go do some other job? And having competitive pay rates is going to be another challenge. But your benefits program is something that really needs to take a hard look at as you're an employer. What can we do to make sure that they've got the best benefits package possible to keep them around? And on the YouTube Live, we had Byron Nichols chime in with something that they're doing in their office, and that is automating processes. As the ever world of digital continues to rise, you got to figure out what processes can be automated. Jake and I were talking off the air about the setup here on the radio station. How many people does it truly take to run this thing? And if you've got people that are quitting and not coming back to work because they're getting, government subsidies or they're getting stimulus checks, they don't need to come back to work sometimes. People have more cash than ever. They're not going to vacations. They weren't going out all year. So what can you do to automate your business practices going into the new year? What can you do to streamline what would take 2 or 3 people? How can you get it down to maybe 1 or 2? Or do you want to get it down to 1 or 2? Are you happy with having those people continue to work for your company? Maybe you are. And that is probably, a good outlook to have. I'm happy. I'm glad I've got these people working for me. Maybe I don't want to eliminate that. Maybe I want to keep 3 people doing the job that can essentially be automated. Because with technology and the advancements that we've had, even over the last 4 or 5 years, there are so many different processes that can be automated. It's just truly mind-blowing what has happened over the last decade in technology.
And we're nowhere close to being done.
Oh, my gosh, no.
This is... I can't even give a prediction.
Think about it. Think about what 5 years ago what the iPhone looked like.
It was important, but it wasn't even what it is now.
Now your business owners can run their entire business straight off their phone. The age of desktops are starting to become obsolete,
I just have a laptop.
I don't own a desktop.
Me neither.
And I think the generation that we were a part of, I couldn't tell you how many people own a home desktop.
Unless they actually needed it, like that's part of their job. I don't know many people with that.
But even then, you can do so many different things with your laptop that you could with a desktop, especially with the the processing ability that you have with a laptop, with your with your Dells and your Apples. It's just crazy what can be done now that could be done on a desktop. And we've got coming up in the 7 o'clock hour Joshua Anderson. We're going to talk NFTs, and we're going to get to it right after the break.
Noise.
All right, he's here. When do we come back, Jake?
We come back at 06.
Cool. I'll go pee real quick. You can just hop on in there. Perfect.
Hi.
Joshua.
Nice to meet you. I can set you up.
Yeah, that'd be great. So we need to be mic'd up.
Yeah, I'll set up. Have a seat.
Perfect.
You need anything for your bag?
Hmm?
You need anything for your bag?
No, I shouldn't.
You're just gonna have the mic probably as close to your mouth as you can.
Okay.
Your segments. Let me check real quick. Your segment is at 15, so you won't have to worry about talking on air until 15. So you're good.
Yeah. Perfect.
So you're to talk about NFT space. What do you do for it?
So I'm working on a crypto project right now, and I've been getting into crypto as a developer.
Really?
So that's kind of how I've gotten familiar with the NFT space as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm not too knowledgeable about crypto or NFT, but I know it's a lot of where I guess just a lot of money's going into it now, and
Yeah.
the world is adjusting to it. So something I've definitely been trying to get more knowledgeable about. So this should be
Yeah.
fun.
It's interesting because it's kind of a simultaneously underhyped and overhyped space.
Yeah, I guess would you say it depends on like the people talking about it? Like some people don't give it enough credit, and some people are like, "This is the future."
I think people give credit in the wrong places.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe give credit without understanding why.
Interesting.
NFTs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I assume you're going to be guiding everything.
Pretty much.
Okay, perfect.
I've got a few questions, but it's gonna be more like the show. We're just gonna figure out kind of where it goes and where it
Cool.
peaks.
So real quick before we address those segments, so have you been around for a top stories and trending segment?
I've not been in the studio before, but I've listened to it.
Okay, so just whenever you're done talking about whichever one, you just give me a look and like give me like a signal, and I'll get you to the next one.
Got it.
And then I'm not gonna give you like a hard break for this segment. Just know that, when you're done, and just start wrapping it up.
Okay. So how long? So it's 7:06 to 7:12.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But like I said before, like the first segment of every hour, it's not always a hard break. Or it's never a hard break. Actually, we very rarely cut out exactly at that time.
Okay. And is there a clip? There's like a music clip before trending, or does it go top story straight into trending?
Straight into trend. There's no like separate thing. Like you do your last top story, and you're like, those are the top stories. Here's a look at what's trending, and then you talk about it.
Gotcha. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna see how this is gonna go. I mean, we can't butcher it up already more than we have.
Full of fun things today.
I'm just gonna say he was a meanie. He was a meanie. Let's just put it that way.
It's a meanie head.
Ooh, that's harsh.
Yeah.
It's actually like 6:15 in the
It was
so
It was like
early.
after the first segment too, and like it was fine.
No, it was after the sports segment.
Oh yeah. Well, I thought that segment went great actually, but he. All right. Okay.
So I'm gonna do a little top stories and training segment, and then
Perfect.
we'll have a break, and then it'll be you.
Perfect.
There's quite a big theme. 3 out of the 5 stories are murder.
Sounds like Louisiana.
Yep.
We've kind of been. Wow, I was about to say we've kind of been killing it with the whole murder things. I'm sorry, that wasn't intentional. That was terrible. I'm not gonna talk this whole segment, just because you can do your thing.
7:06 a.m. Start of the second hour. This is Mornings with Brian Haldane on Talk 107.3 FM. And if you're a regular listener to this segment, you know it's top stories and trending, but this is not Brian Haldane. This is Patty G filling in for him while he was on vacation. However, we do have some top stories and trending. Teen arrested after accidentally shooting father to death at Baton Rouge home. That's where it starts. A teenager accidentally killed his father when he opened fire inside his home Wednesday morning and now faces criminal charges. Family members said 43-year-old Mohammed Abdul Aziz was found shot to death at the home of East Brookstone Drive near Prescott Road around 7:30 a.m. Wednesday morning. According to sources, Aziz's 17-year-old heard a loud noise inside the home and started shooting. He was a hardworking man, Judy, mother-in-law, said. A hardworking family man, a great father to his children, a wonderful grandfather to my great-grandbaby, and a wonderful husband to my daughter. The teen was booked into juvenile detention on a charge of negligent homicide. It is unclear where the Aziz son got the gun. Baton Rouge auto dealers faced shortages but also saw sales growth in 2021. It's been an up-and-down year for auto dealers in Baton Rouge, the business report says, and across the country, as sales have soared, but products have been in short supply. Daily Report asked some local dealers to share their experiences from the past year. The year began with inventory shortages, says Eric Lane, president of Jerry Lane. Computer chips for cars were in short supply as factories, both domestically and abroad, were closed due to the pandemic and struggled to reopen and meet demand. Lane says he saw supply drop to its lowest around September, but shortages have gotten a bit better over the past few months. On the other hand, Matt McKay, owner of All-Star Automotive, says he's seen the largest shortage now. However, they both agree it has been a great year for sales. Interest rates were low, and the chip shortage meant trade-ins were worth more, Lane says. It was a good year for people to buy. Baton Rouge man arrested months after killing. St. Francisville, a suspected killer was arrested months after a man was found dead with a bag and rope wrapped around his head. The West Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office said Richard Craig Martin's body was found near his home on August 14th, 2021. It took weeks for investigators to identify a 55-year-old John Anthony Janik of Baton Rouge, who was arrested and booked in East Baton Rouge Jail Tuesday. According to a search warrant, Martin was found with a garbage bag over his face and a polyurethane rope tied around his mouth and around the neck of his head. That was a very gruesome story. And man, 74. Gosh, so much violence in these top stories. Man, 74, found dead in his home on Tuesday. Baton Rouge police are investigating a Tuesday night homicide in a residential area near Prescott Road and North Brookstone Drive. Detectives say a 74-year-old Junice Jones was killed in a shooting that happened around 11 p.m. in the 5900 block of Heidel Avenue. Investigators believe Jones was inside of his home when shots were fired from outside of the residence. One of the bullets hit Jones, and he died at the scene of the crime. Our number one top story. East Baton Rouge schools will continue to require masks in January. The East Baton Rouge school system announced Wednesday it will continue to require masks on school campuses at the start of the spring 2022 semester. That is our top stories. Here's to take a look at what's trending. New Year's Eve plans. Do you have any? Are you thinking of going somewhere? Are you thinking of staying in? Well, if you're looking for places to go, the Baton Rouge Business Report has a couple of places to check out. First one being the Red Stick Revelry. Last year's Red Stick Revelry was virtual only, so fans of Baton Rouge's official New Year's celebration are eager to once again gather in person for the arrival of the new year. When the clock strikes midnight, watch the city's 9-foot LED red stick drop over Roar Plaza and North Boulevard Town Square. Gatsby's House New Year's Eve Party is another place you can check out at the Baton Rouge Hilton Capitol Center Hotel. Tickets include a 5-hour open bar, 4 of Baton Rouge's top DJs, areas to mingle, views of the Mississippi River, party favors, and the DJ-led countdown to midnight. A VIP upgrade provides access to private ballrooms, restrooms, and dance floors, premium liquors, and complimentary light hors d'oeuvres. Wow. There's lots of things to do New Year's Eve, which is tomorrow evening. Do you have any plans, Jake? Do you have anything going on tomorrow evening?
Not really. I think I might just be hanging out with my girlfriend and her family.
Well, if you are, and you're hanging out with her at home, Baton Rouge grocers have some wines you might want to try out, Jake. At Mathern's Market downtown, they are recommending a Monsieur Brut at 12. It's a French sparkling wine from Loire Valley, dry with good minerality. Try it with heavier appetizers, like a fruit-top baked brie. Also, a 2019 Paringa Sparkling Shiraz.
Very nice.
And finally, a JCB number 21 Cremant du Bernal. This non-vintage sparkling wine from Burgundy with fresh salad greens tossed in a tangy vinaigrette of your favorite Gulf seafood. I don't get the big buzz around champagne for New Year's. I get you want to pop it and you want to spray it everywhere, but
I think it's just the thing to do.
It's the thing to do,
Kinda
man.
Tradition.
Well, that are the top stories and trending here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we've got Joshua Anderson, a local tech guy. We're going to talk about the NFT space. He's got a project he's in the works of developing. I'm eager to learn more about this area, but also another look at what Baton Rouge businesses can possibly do in 2022 with their own NFTs.
You good?
Wrong pipe.
Oh boy, I hate to see it.
Tried to talk because I was flowing water. Didn't work well. So Kevin O'Neill on the YouTube Live says ending 2021 with big bang violence, but remember to wear your mask outside at New Year's Eve parties. Byron, did you tune out after hearing the 5-hour open bar Because nothing else mattered after that statement? You had already made your plans? Or is there another reason you tuned out? So yeah, so it's just gonna be more of like, what the heck is it? Does it really hold value? Should businesses spend resources learning about it if it makes a right fit? And then for the second segment, like, should local artists take a look at making their work digital?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what all is involved? I'd like to go through like a how to create it from start to finish if possible.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
We'll definitely have the time for it. It's gonna take the bulk of these segments. Actually, yeah. This next segment should be about 13-14 minutes, and then the segment after that, after about a 6-minute break, will still be on YouTube, so we can continue the conversation there.
Yeah.
But then the segment after that's 13 minutes.
Yeah, we'll
That's
have
perfect.
plenty to talk about.
Good. First, we'll give a little bit of background about who you are.
Okay.
Establish a little bit of knowledge.
Credibility.
Yeah, credibility. Byron, I bring my own sippy cup whenever I go places.
Same.
I don't like the ones that Brian has in here. They don't have my favorite superpower on there.
How often do you co-host or host this?
I come on for 2 segments every Thursday.
Oh, okay. On
But
what?
On this.
Oh, okay.
I come in for the 6:38 to 6:47 segment and the 6:52 6:59 segment.
Nice.
We just talk Baton Rouge business. But this is only the second time I've actually hosted. Like full on host.
Okay. Fun.
7:16 a.m. Talk 107.3 FM. Mornings with Brian Haldane, Patty G, and Jake filling in for Brian while he's on vacation before the end of the year. We've got in the studio with us Joshua Anderson. We're going to be talking about some non-fungible tokens, otherwise known as NFTs. What the heck they are. I mean, is there really value in something that can be screenshot and saved in my phone? Like, is it really worth the types of money that some of these things are selling for? I mean, I've seen some of these NFTs sell for like millions of dollars. It's just ridiculous. So clearly there's something here that they're not telling us. You know, there's something behind the artwork, behind the digital picture that is holding some value. And also, should local artists take their work and make it into an NFT? Is it worthwhile? Those artists that are trying to make a name for themselves, is it worth the time and energy and effort to create something that's digital instead of putting something on a canvas? We're going to get to all of that with Joshua Anderson. Joshua, welcome to Talk 107.3 FM.
Thanks for having me.
Mornings with Brian Haldane. So who are you, Joshua? What's your background? Why are we talking NFTs, man?
Great question. So I've recently gotten into the crypto space. I fell in love with it after reading a white paper or two. And I come from a mixed background of business and software development.
Okay.
And I'm all about NFTs as well as the rest of crypto.
So, okay, so software development, crypto, that's kind of your niche.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so, I mean, my knowledge for NFTs is like, hey, it's a picture. I know a little bit about the behind-the-scenes contracts that are involved with them, the actual tangible ownership of the digital artwork. I know a little bit about that, but I want to go with you to kind of the origin. How did these things get started? You know, what are they?
Yeah, so the basic idea behind a non-fungible token is it's a way to ensure digital scarcity. So anyone can go look on a public blockchain and they can see exactly when a non-fungible token was created. They can view how many of them there are, or if it's completely unique. And there's not really any way to forge that. It's a bit like having the one copy, let's say, of the Mona Lisa. You can take a picture of it, but you can still know which one's the original.
Right, but I mean, the Mona Lisa is a tangible good.
Yes,
I mean,
that is
these things are
correct.
non-tangible.
Yes, they're non-tangible and non-fungible. That is correct.
Okay, so what are those meanings? Like what? Let's break it down.
Yeah, so fungibility is the idea of things being able to be interchangeable for each other. So dollars would be fungible because $1 is worth exactly the same as another dollar, or water would be fungible because one cup of water is exactly the same as another cup. Non-fungible things are when you can't really sub out one for another item. So if you have a painting or a work of art or a ticket to an event, all of those could be considered non-fungible because a ticket to a Taylor Swift concert is not the same as one to the Rolling Stones.
Right. So, but like these things are digital. So, if I see somebody has this NFT and they post a picture of it on their Instagram page, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between me screenshotting that? Because I've got the picture, right?
Yes.
So, is there anything more behind the scenes of these NFTs that kind of are creating this value per se?
That's a great question. A lot of people's first reaction, kind of self-included, when they encounter the concept of NFTs is, can I just right-click it and save it? Haha, now I have an NFT, and that costs $1 million for you to buy.
Right. I mean, that's even myself are looking at it. Say, I can just right click save or even screenshot this, and now I've got it in my digital library.
Exactly. Yeah. So the image itself is public. Let's say one of these NFTs that are selling for insane amounts online, like $1 million plus. What people are buying is more the ownership of it. So the art itself is public. What they're purchasing is the ownership.
And what typically comes with the ownership that makes it so different than just having the art?
Good question. So there's two uses that come to mind for some of the ones that have been trading for insane amounts lately. The first would probably be clout. Some people just want to purchase large ticket items in order to display status or to signal. So that's one of the reasons people are purchasing things like this. And another reason is membership. So I don't know if you've heard of Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. But he recently has been selling NFT collections that he ties in with basically an exclusive Gary V club. So it can be a way to kind of sell access to a club or a membership or something like that.
So there is something tangible behind the digital artwork itself.
Yeah, so the fun thing about NFTs is someone can tie, because it's all bound up in a smart contract, you can tie whatever you would like to that piece of artwork. So if I were a local artist, let's say a local musician, I might create a set of NFTs that also function as concert tickets.
Okay.
So someone, if they own this picture, that is their admittance into a concert.
Right. So you have to own one of my creations in order to come see me play wherever I'm playing, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe a restaurant could use it as a loyalty card. There's really no limit.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
A restaurant using it as a loyalty card.
Yeah. It
How
could
would
be used
that
for
work?
anything. So it could be something where maybe if you want to purchase, let's say, VIP status at a restaurant or a bar, whatever that looks like, then you could show that you own the NFT when you walk in, and that would function as your ticket for whatever benefits that we give you.
So how are they able to distinguish between, is it something that's saved in my photos on my phone, or is there an app? Like, how are they able to distinguish between me just screenshotting this NFT versus actually owning this NFT?
Good question. So there's wallets that you can download to your phone or your laptop. MetaMask is a very popular one, and that's somewhere where you can view owned digital assets that you have, like an NFT. So if I were to try to show that to, let's say, a restaurant, I would open up my wallet on my phone and show them that that's a digital asset that I own, their loyalty card NFT, let's say.
Okay, so it's more like an ID scanning. So you're able to pull up the wallet, and they're able to look at it, and is there like a QR code or something? I mean, how are they able to verify its authenticity outside of just like searching through your wallet?
Yeah, so if you really wanted to get into the nitty-gritty, you can view, so most of these blockchains are all public, so anyone can look them up and view every single transaction on the blockchain. So you could show them the transaction where you purchased their NFT.
Well, and I guess so. If they make let's say a restaurant makes an album or a
Yeah.
collection of these NFTs, are they able to then see who purchases them?
So it would be purchased by a wallet address.
Okay, so
and
not
those-
like a name. Like you wouldn't say, Patty G bought this NFT from Joshua.
Depending on how the person has their wallet configured, not necessarily. It could be just a string of characters, or it could be something that looks more like a name.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so once the restaurant sells this, or once the business sells this NFT, or this person sells this NFT, is there any way for them to kind of continue reaping the benefit of this? I mean, if I'm selling it one time, and let's say it was a one-of-a-kind unique NFT, and I sold it to you for $20,
Yes.
is there a way that if later on, you start selling it to then Jake, and Jake buys it for $30, well, you've made $10 on it, but I've only made my initial 20. Is there a way for me to have continuous revenue earnings from these items?
Yes, this is one of the areas where NFTs have an advantage over traditional art, or really a lot of traditional ways of handling certain types of business, is because they're bound up with the idea of a smart contract. You can attach whatever conditions you would like to that. So it's very common for NFTs to have a royalty fee stapled to them, so that, let's say, every exchange after the initial sale will have a 5% fee, and some of that may go back to the original creator.
Okay.
Yes.
So each time it's sold, you then making a commission on it, basically.
Yeah, so for a lot of artists, if they start off as fairly poor, struggling artists, and then later become famous in the traditional world, a lot of the times they don't see any of the benefit from that. But with an NFT, they could get commissions the whole way up on
Right.
that sale, or that chain of sales.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can see where that makes sense. So, like, where people are purchasing all of these, is there some form of, like, outside of having your own wallet, is there like some public display, kind of like an art gallery that people can put on for individuals that are interested in seeing what all the artwork is that they have? Is there, like you saying beforehand, that's like this clout status? Hey,
Yeah.
I own all these things, but if only you know that you own all these things, it's kind of pointless, right? The point of
Yeah.
having, the ability to show off all these NFTs is to say, hey, look at all of what I've purchased. Is there some type of like social element to this?
There is a social element to it. So it's fairly common for people to use an NFT as a profile picture in social media platforms nowadays. And it's also something that you can display in any way that you would like, anywhere where you could display an image online. And you could also, if you wanted to show proof that you owned it, you could link to, let's say, the transaction where you purchased it, and anyone could view that on a public blockchain.
Okay, so it all goes back to kind of the blockchain
Yes.
of where the transaction occurred for people to see, oh, he purchased it here.
Yeah, it goes back to that digital public ledger. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, but isn't that giving away your wallet address, and doesn't that have like some negative ramifications?
No, your wallet address isn't really a big secret. It's like saying, here's where you can send money to my bank account.
Okay.
Like, that's not that secret. There are secrets attached to that. So you would want to keep the key, like you'd want to keep the keys to your house, or let's say the login code for your bank app a secret. There's keys to getting into a wallet as well, but the address isn't that big of a secret.
Gotcha. And so this sounds like a fairly complex system to get started in. Is it really challenging to kind of make your own NFT?
It's not too bad, actually. I'd say it's probably easier now than it ever has been before. So probably the easiest way to make one, especially for someone who's new to the space, is to go through an established marketplace. And I believe OpenSea is the most established of those. You could almost think of it as eBay for NFTs.
Okay, and you can actually create and sell all on the same platform.
Yeah, so that's somewhere you can kind of do all of the above.
So
Yes.
OpenSea.
OpenSea.
Write that down. Okay, so what has been your experience in this space? How have you seen the growth, kind of, and how long have you been dabbling in NFTs?
So NFTs are a bit newer for me. I've had more experience with the other sides of crypto, and NFTs. I mean, they kind of date back to just something that people were doing for fun, to the point where it's like, hey, here's this image that I put on the blockchain, and now you can prove that you own it. Here, want one? And now it's become something that's a big business, and all sorts of entities or people, organizations are creating their own NFT lines. So it's transformed in the idea behind it somewhat, and the motivation is certainly transformed as well.
And so to purchase these, you can't just input like a credit card and go start buying these. You have to actually, from my understanding, a lot, especially like MetaMask, is based on the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah, so there may be somewhere where you can purchase them with fiat currency or a credit card or whatnot, but it's certainly a blockchain native asset. So you could certainly host them on different blockchains, not just Ethereum. And you can hold more than just Ethereum in a MetaMask account. But yeah, most of them would be, you'd pay for them with some sort of cryptocurrency.
So do you think it'll get to the point where we can enter a Discover or Visa card and start actually purchasing this stuff with fiat currency?
I think it might be more that we may find ourselves using cryptocurrency more in the future. I don't think there's going to be a point where it's common to use fiat currency to purchase NFTs.
Okay, so it's more of people will adopt crypto rather than making it easier to use fiat.
Yeah, almost like how we don't even really think about transitioning between Venmo to Apple Pay to fiat. I think crypto might be one of those things that people just reach for whenever they need it in the future.
Excellent. Okay, so we've got a little bit of the background information about how they're made. I want to take the next, after we got a break coming up, and once we get back, I want to kind of dive into how local artists can use this to their advantage, what they can do to create them. Can they take some of their already existing artwork and make them into an NFT? And we'll get to this right after the break.
Absolutely.
It's all good. It's all good. All good. If the NFT art is public, what's the value of ownership? In the context of a song, I see the value through music publishing and licensing.
Yeah, you could definitely do it for songs.
One step closer to Metaverse.
The obligatory comment.
Metaverse is the new Facebook thing.
Screw them. Facebook wants to make a metaverse. So the idea of a metaverse is not something that's just Facebook's.
Okay.
But Facebook wants to make one, yeah.
So, how much do you know about? Can we talk about that in the next segment too?
Absolutely, yeah. That's a very rapidly changing space. But yeah, we can totally talk about it.
Okay, because I'm genuinely curious about it because I don't know a whole bunch about it, if anything really.
Yeah.
Because I saw a TikTok that initially saw it, and somebody was like in virtual reality, and they're sitting in a bar or whatever, and they're talking with somebody, and they're like, "Wait, oh, I've got to go to work," and they're like, "Oh, well, we're working right now. Like, this is our job." He's like, "What are you talking about? This is your job." He's like, "Well, we work for Meta, and so we're paid to be here."
Yeah.
In this virtual world, and it's like,
Did you know a couple got married in the metaverse already?
Oh, I hate that.
is that legally binding though?
I'm not a judge.
Probably. I mean, you could sign in.
But you sign in the metaverse. Like, is it legal in like the real world?
I mean, you can sign digital contracts. Like, you do that in real estate all the time. You could sign a contract in a virtual context.
But is the metaverse? And we can get into all this on the air.
What are the laws?
But
in the
like, is the
metaverse? that its own
metaverse
governing
more of like a
body?
role playing situation, or is it like, no, this is reality?
That's where you start to get into sci-fi a bit.
Yeah.
Because you could easily envision a future where it blends with reality. You could envision a future where it kind of starts displacing reality. Like Ready Player One.
I was just about to say, it sounds exactly like Ready Player One.
Yeah, so like Ready Player One would be a displaced reality.
What's Ready Player One?
It's a book and movie.
Yeah. It's basically about a metaverse. Or there's other things like, did you ever read Ender's Game?
Andrew's game.
Ender's Game.
Ender's game. Yeah.
So there's like a VR training, like automated training program that puts you in like virtual reality in that. And something like that might be a complementary metaverse to our world. And you might have multiple versus like an all-encompassing one. Like if someone like Facebook made it.
Yeah. Well, Ready Player One, in a simple term, would be like basically you put on this headset and it is like an entirely different planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's its own world, and you can live your entire life in there. Like,
But your human body cannot live.
Yeah.
not yet.
Like,
They're working on that probably.
like what are
They
they gonna
probably
hook you up to an IV, and you just become a body,
A husk.
like
mean, it might happen
like a
one day.
dwelling, like.
I don't know. It could get very, very dystopian.
My prediction that I've had for years now, my prediction for the future is by the time I'm like in my retirement age, it will be normal in America for people to have rooms that are designated for virtual reality.
Well, I get it, but that's a gaming room.
Well, not just strictly for gaming. Virtual reality isn't for gaming anymore.
Yeah,
Just gaming.
Like imagine if you have a Zoom meeting. If you had a very good virtual reality setup, you might just meet in virtual reality and be able to see each other face to face and shake hands with haptic gloves.
That's so crazy, man.
Oh, like that hug blanket, like makes you feel
Something
like you're being
that,
hugged.
yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
I've seen a commercial for that. Like this grandma. I mean, I always mute it during the commercials, but this grandma's got like a blanket, it's like little sensors that like I guess makes her feel like she's being hugged by her nephew or whatever.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything sadder than that, actually.
Yeah. Technology's going into a weird place.
Where do you want to get really conspiracy on this?
On air?
Was COVID concocted in order to push the digital virtual agenda?
It is a perfect storm, isn't it?
No.
I'm not saying yes, but I'm
I'm
just
not
saying
saying
it like it's exactly what happened.
I'm just saying, if you wanted to pull some stuff together, you make that connection, right?
Hanlon's razor. Never attribute to malice what you can attribute to stupidity.
It is interesting though, because we were like, technology's getting. I mean, it's obviously the most advanced it's ever been.
Conversation is very close
but-
to upload on Amazon Prime. What Troy Miller just said on YouTube Live. Getting there, Troy. Getting there. Okay. Let's get more back to that NFT and the art.
Yeah, and less to.
Yeah, this would be more of a
Dystopia.
podcast at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
I don't know if we have time to get into metaverse dystopias.
I don't know. We can get into it a little bit.
Dude, I'll go wherever you want to go.
No, I want to get once we get through the artwork. I want to get into some stuff that you've got going on,
Okay.
like some of the projects you've got going
Okay,
on, and
yeah.
stuff like that. But I'll first
Happily.
want to touch on how local artists can do that.
Yeah.
And,
Although,
and are you okay with putting yourself as a resource for a local artist? to
yeah,
reach out?
sure. Yeah, they can reach out to me. In fact, yeah. I will say that.
I love this commercial.
It's ridiculous.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Yeah.
So what were you doing before the whole NFT, like crypto stuff?
So the other job that I have is I'm running an ed tech startup to get coding into schools.
Oh, okay.
And before that, I worked for Bluefin Data.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. And before that, school. Or actually, during that as well, school.
Do you think because Amazon is now putting like a home base or something in Baton Rouge, do you think that's gonna grow the opportunity for technological advancement in the state or the city specifically?
When you say home base, I haven't actually heard of that. Does that mean like a campus?
Do you remember it? Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that another time.
Yeah.
7:39, Talk 107.3 FM, mornings with Brian Haldane. Patty G filling in for Brian while he is on vacation. We are rolling right along. If you are listening to us on the airwaves and not on the YouTube Live, well, you really need to hop over to the YouTube Live because the conversation continues during the break. And let's just say we started getting very close to the television show Upload on Amazon Prime. If you're familiar with that, Metaverse was thrown around. There's a lot of digital space conversations happening. If we have time on air, we'll get to it. But where I want to take this, Joshua Anderson, who is still sitting in studio with us,
Yes.
is the back to the NFT space, the non-fungible tokens, the digital artwork that people have placed value on well into the millions of dollars for some pieces of content that have been created. Let's take this more on a local stage, right? You've got your local artists here that are doing either wall murals, building murals, or they're actually creating artwork on canvas and selling them at makers markets, right? What is something, people are looking towards 2022? What can they do differently? How can they grow their business, expand their product line, so on and so forth? What is something that they can do in this NFT space in order to get their work out there on a broader scale and, make their local Baton Rouge name a national household name, within the NFT space?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think the lowest hanging fruit is for artists that already work with digital mediums. So for anyone who's already creating digital art or maybe music, any format that's already digital, basically, it would be pretty trivial to take that art and make it into an NFT. And from there, they could sell it, advertise it, position themselves to earn extra revenue because of that. For someone working with more traditional mediums, they could also turn it into an NFT. You have a painting, you snap a photo of it, and now you can sell one physical painting in 10 digital copies numbered 1 through 10.
Okay. So would you then take the photo and kind of arterize it, I guess, like make it look like more art, or would you still leave it as the photo of the artwork itself?
I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's a super open concept, that of an NFT, so it can be used for everything from here's this photo that I took of a penguin, now it's an NFT, huzzah, to people have sold tweets before, just screenshots of tweets as an NFT.
Okay.
To taking your art and digitally altering it to just a clubhouse intro, it can be literally anything.
So let's run with the photo example. So, for example, my show, the Patty G Show, we take photos all throughout the episode. Could I take one of those photos and say convert it into an NFT?
Yeah, absolutely. You might have to have you'd have to have a buyer for it.
Right.
But yeah, totally. If you had someone who would buy it, yeah, why not?
So, but then what would then stop me from them taking it and kind of making another one?
Well,
because still have the same photo. It's just now being uploaded into, the applications for NFTs.
So you're asking what would stop someone else from, let's say, right-clicking it and, altering it a tiny bit and making their own NFT?
Yeah.
That starts to get into one of the issues that the space is having, which is that nothing does, basically. So in theory, you would have copyright protection because it's your work, and they shouldn't be able to copy it. In practice, it's hard to police the NFT space. So if somebody wants to toss up an NFT of, let's say, your face, they can. It's not really a valid NFT, or it wouldn't be something that is likely to have any value since it's not attached to the creator. It would just be almost like pirated movies.
Gotcha. So they can see, the original creator has this work up, and this other person took it, altered it very slightly, and then reproduced their own.
Yeah, basically. So you could say this is the official version. This other one's pirated. It's not attached to me. I didn't create it. Yeah, so there's definitely a problem in the space because of that, but it's just like music piracy or piracy of really anything else.
Okay, makes sense. So what all are you involved with as of today? I know we were talking during the break that you've got some great projects going on. Let's kind of go into some of those.
Perfect. So the two big things that I have right now are I'm working on an education project to get coding into school systems. That's an important one to me because I taught myself how to code. I didn't learn anything about it in high school, which is pretty common since about 80% of high schools in the state don't have any sort of coding program.
80?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So if you are listening to this and you are at a high school in a position to bring in a coding program, hit me up. The website for that's accelerant.education.com.
Okay.
The other project that I'm working on, so this is a crypto project. I'm working with a few local guys to create a cryptocurrency that should be going live in early January, and that's called ShineMine. The website for that is shinemine.io.
Okay, and so I feel like everybody and their mother is making their own crypto.
Yeah, basically.
So what value? I guess that then begs the other question: how can you then put a value on crypto when everyone has one? Like I'm sure crypto will be like the new thing. Oh, I've got my own crypto.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, everyone and their mother is making a cryptocurrency. Someone can launch a new token in 20 minutes if they feel like.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's not going to be a good one, but yeah,
True.
Definitely.
So is there going to be some form of utility within your crypto?
Yeah. So the idea is it's one of the biggest problems that crypto has as a space is energy usage, and it can be very something that consumes a lot of energy, and it is starting to have an impact on the environment basically because it uses as much as a small country.
One crypto?
Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin uses
I'm
definitely.
sure Bitcoin, but
Yes, not every cryptocurrency uses as much as a small country, but for the space as a whole, it's a serious issue. So the one that we're making is focused on sustainable infrastructure for cryptocurrency. And to answer your question about where the value comes from, basically all of the value comes from the project and what's attached to it. So different cryptocurrencies have different projects and different visions attached to them. And I'd say the value comes from the project, the vision, and the community that builds around it.
okay, so it's a holistic approach, not just the coin itself. It's what, again, same with the NFTs, what's attached to it, right?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, like, I could fork or copy the Bitcoin code in about probably an hour and have my own running version of, let's say, Joshua Coin that's just a copy of Bitcoin, and it would be worth nothing because there's no real vision for it, there's no community for it. Even though the technology is completely identical to Bitcoin, it would be worth nothing.
So it's all around establishing your clout. Back to making sure that people get behind your vision.
Yeah, it's about, I wouldn't say it's about like personal clout, but it's about like having a direction for the project and a vision for it. Yes.
Okay, so for the coding for the high schools, I mean, anyone that has been in any type of space can see the ever evolving realm of technology, the growing importance. We did a segment earlier in this show about what to look at in 2022 as a business, and that is streamlining processes, encouraging people to automate things, and just get technology more involved, whether you're working remotely or you're working in the office. How important is it that people in high school or the younger generation, the next generation coming up, is introduced to this type of, I guess, tech?
Vital. I don't think it's optional. I think I think coding today is what literacy was to, let's say, the 1800s. There will be people who don't know it, but you're going to be at a serious disadvantage if you don't know anything about coding. Even if you don't want to code as a profession, it'll be an important base layer skill.
Yeah, just something to understand the why behind the technology that you're using.
Yeah, the 3 R's and 1 C might be the future.
3 R's and 1 C.
Reading, writing, arithmetic, and coding. If I had time, I could come up with a catchier slogan.
Gotcha. Maybe for next time. So
Yeah.
how is that going? Are schools accepting of that? Are you finding some pushback? What is it looking like in the local scene?
Great question. So there's not really much pushback. I think everyone is on board with the vision of schools need to teach coding, and I wouldn't really say any pushback. The big problem, I think, is teacher training. So getting teachers that are willing to teach programs like this and equipping them in order to do so, and that's kind of what I'm focusing on, is on training teachers who might not have any background in coding on how to be able to teach students effectively.
Okay. And so is everyone eager to learn? Everyone kind of eager to add this as part of their curriculum? I mean, you think it's feasible for them to add this for maybe some lower end schools?
Yeah, I think it's something that doesn't need a ton of equipment. I mean, you need computers. That's about it. And you don't need an insane amount of training. So yeah, I think every high school in the state has the resources to do it.
Yeah, and I can see, back in the day, per se, that people were taught typing courses, right?
Yeah.
You were taught how to type on a computer, and now I think, like you said, the coding is going to be the next thing to teach people while they're in high school. So you got 10 seconds left. What is a good way for people to get in touch with you? Maybe some local artists on an NFT project.
Perfect. Yeah, you can hit me up on you look up the Accelerant Education site or follow me on any social media. It's Joshua A is most of them, and yeah, just look me up.
You got it. Thank you so much, Joshua, for coming in. We'll get right back to you after the break. Awesome, man.
It was fun.
That was good.
Enjoyed it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming in.
This was a lot of fun.
That it was. Learned a lot.
Good.
So, yeah. All right, I'm going to go let in the next person. I'll walk you out.
Perfect.
We go back in how many minutes? Jake? How many minutes we come back to? 5. Cool.
Pleasure to meet you, Jake.
Nice to meet you as well. Have a good one.
That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon, cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code TURN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code TURN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TURN.
But is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco, voted best tacos 3 years in a row in the best of 225. Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos with creative combinations like the quartz and balances with smoked chicken and pimento mac and cheese and white barbecue
What's up, man? How you doing? Bear Bonda. Nice to meet you, bud.
melted cheese plus perfect tortilla chips paired the best salsa and queso you've ever had.
Government Taco, 5629 Government Street in tacos we trust.
The forecast says it'll be cold today and hot tomorrow. As the seasons change, the weather can become so unpredictable. Rely on the certainty of a Mueller metal roof to provide superior protection for your home from Mother Nature year after year. Made from 26-gauge steel, our energy-efficient metal roofs are hail, fire, and wind resistant. Inner strength and outward beauty. That's what you can expect from a Mueller metal roof on your home. With a wide variety of panel styles to choose from and a selection of more than 30 designer colors, your home will be sleek and stylish and possess the strength and durability you can depend on. Give yourself peace of mind knowing that which is most precious to you is sheltered from the storm. Visit our website at MuellerInc.com where you can browse our selection of panel styles and trim profiles. Then give us a call at 8772-MUELLER or visit one of our 33 branch locations to speak to a Mueller sales representative who can help you get started today.
Davids Tiger Express in Central. Owned and operated by the David family. Now
How's it? You getting any sleep, dude?
A little bit, man. Last night I got, I think, right at 6 hours.
Oh, that's huge.
Dude, it's
Is the baby sleeping like 4 or 5 hours?
No, like, Charlotte fed him at 10, and then he didn't wake up till 4. And so I bottle fed him at 4.
That's not bad at all.
That's a win, dude. That's a win.
I bottle fed him at 4, and then I was like, all right, well, I'm up for the day.
Right.
I'm like, but still, I got 6 hours of sleep.
Oh,
So-
that's
Dude,
for sure, no doubt.
3 nights in a row, we've gotten 6+ hour stints from 10 to 4, 10 to 4:30. Like, he's doing great.
Rivers was a good sleeper too, man. I mean,
He's 6 weeks.
that is amazing. That's great.
So
He's
bless
a
him how he
eater
figured.
then too, right?
Oh yeah.
That's got to be it because that's the problem is if they don't eat good, then they don't sleep good.
Oh no. He pounds whenever I Charlotte will breastfeed him all during the day, and then she'll pump, and then I'll bottle feed him at night, and let her get some good sleep, and I'll bottle feed him 4 ounces at a time, and he sucks it down. This is a short segment, isn't it? Yes. Cool. Perfect. What? 7:55 Talk 107.3 FM. Mornings with Brian Haldane. I am Patty G, filling in for Brian while he is on vacation. Big thanks to Joshua Anderson for coming in for the second hour of Mornings with Brian Haldane. We're about to wrap up before we get into the third hour of the show. But before we do, we've got some outside in. Taking a look. Today, in the Outside In, we are looking at HomeOfToday.com. I was doing some research last night, and the article that drew me in the most. Lafourche man argues tiny amount of cocaine doesn't warrant conviction. Shockingly enough, the court disagrees. The Louisiana Supreme Court has denied a request to review the case of a Lafourche Parish man who is challenging his conviction after police found less than a gram of cocaine residue in his truck. Ricky Joseph Guidry, 59, of Cutoff, was convicted March 6, 2018, of possession of cocaine. After ruling Guidry as a habitual offender, a judge ordered him to serve 2.5 years in prison without parole, probation, or early release. That sentence was later thrown out by the First Circuit Court of Appeal in Baton Rouge, but the conviction still stands. In his appeal to the First Circuit, Guidry seeks to have the conviction overturned, arguing that the 0.1 gram of cocaine residue police found in his vehicle was not enough to convict him. Man. Certainly, is there a level of cocaine in your possession that is worthy of conviction? I don't know the legal answer to that question, but if I'm caught with cocaine, it's worthy of something, you know? It's a drug. It's a dangerous drug. If you're a habitual offender, I mean, in my opinion, it's got to be worth some type of conviction. But apparently to Guidry, it was not. Taking a side step over to our Audubon friends over at KATC.com. 3 lions at the Audubon Zoo test positive for COVID-19. Now, I don't want to know how exactly they're testing these lions. I want to see the person sticking the swab up their nose and getting that COVID test. 3 African lions at the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans have been tested positive for the virus that causes COVID-19, zoo officials said Wednesday. Last week, staff noticed the lions were coughing and had nasal discharge. Nasal and fecal samples were collected for 3 symptomatic lions at the Louisiana Animal Disease Diagnostic Laboratory in Baton Rouge, and the test confirmed the presence of SARS-CoV-2 for lions Asani, Arnold, and Callie. The zoo is in the process of testing the 3 other lions. Officials say all lions have a normal appetite and appear to be doing well. and are showing few symptoms besides coughing, sneezing, and nasal discharge. They're currently being quarantined in their habitat, which remains open. My biggest question here, can we as passerbyers get COVID-19 from lions? That's what I want to know. I'm not sure if I want to go back to the Audubon Zoo now that COVID's running rampant among these feline creatures. I don't really know. But additional barricades have been added in front of the exhibit to further distance guests out of an abundance of caution. I appreciate you, Audubon Zoo, for taking an abundance of caution. And, well, if you're looking from the outside in, outside of Baton Rouge, we've got cocaine is no longer convictable, and we've got lions with coughing fits. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty good little segment right there. And we're going to come back right after this break on Mornings with Brian Haldane, Talk 107.3 FM. Come to the zoo. See lions with COVID. YouTube Live, we've got Byron Nichols. Dude must be rich if he left a gram as residue. Finish what you start, dude. Troy Villa, that Lafourche Parish man is walking a fine line.
Oh, that's a good one.
Gotta love the cocaine jokes.
Cocaine puns specifically.
Puns, jokes, all the same. All right, so you got this next segment?
Yeah.
It's all you, man.
Well, you're gonna intro it, and then you're gonna say this segment. Jake Barty takes us on this day in history, and then that'll be my cue, and then I go.
Is there music that goes along
Yes.
with this? Okay, got it.
So
Threw me off from the out. I've never. Normally, I'm working by the time it gets to the outside in, so I never have heard the intro to that segment before. Like I always catch his top stories and trending heading back to work, but then I have to start working. And
Yeah, this little pesky thing called work. Yeah.
it's always there.
So yeah, just like give a little intro, give like a small rundown of what's gonna happen this hour, and then this is the part of the show where I take over. Like you just talk about that, and then I'll hit the bump. I'll start talking, and then when I say that is this day in history, that's pretty much the end of the segment. You just say what's happening next, cut, print, check the film.
Got it.
Should be pretty easy. Also, it is my segment, but like the point of it is to like banter with the host, because like Brian usually talks about like not exactly the most fun stuff in the world, like entertaining, like not entertaining, but like talks about like
All current
murders
stuff.
or like
I know
business
three murders for the
Yeah.
top 5 stories.
So my stuff's supposed to kind of like ease
There's
the tension, and he's supposed to just
2
like
murders, I think, in like.
we're just supposed to chop it up about this stuff. It's not supposed to be like serious.
Let's see. Troy Villa on the YouTube Live. Age disparity personified. Patty G learned to type on an iPad. I learned on a Manuel Smith Corona with carbon paper.
You can't make any mistakes on that, really.
All right, so I didn't learn to type on an iPad. I learned to type on a Dell.
I had a computer
When
class.
did you graduate high school?
14?
14? Oh, wow.
Jeez. Wait, you only
Nice.
graduated high school in 2014? 17 for me.
17.
I graduated college in 18.
Whoa.
Quick. Did it right. No 5th year laugh, huh?
2 degrees in 4 years, man.
2 degrees.
Got in and out.
No doubt. Handle it. Got to get efficient, man.
2 degrees, 1 minor, and a bride.
And a bride. That's the biggest one.
Yeah. So I graduated May of 18. I was supposed to graduate in 3.5 years.
Yeah.
But then the entrepreneurship department convinced me to get a paired degree in entrepreneurship. with
Okay.
accounting. So I was the first graduate to go through and get a bachelor's in entrepreneurship at LSU. And I only added, it was like 30 hours. And I needed the 30 hours.
But you need 30 hours to save VA. That's the kicker
I
with
need
it.
150.
That's the kicker.
So that's how they got me hook, line, and sinker.
They do
I was
that a
like-
lot.
I was like, well, I'm already going to graduate a semester early. Like, sure. let's tackle another degree. I was already getting the minor, so it really wasn't that bad. Like I was already getting the entrepreneurship minor.
That's definitely a cool degree to have, though.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. It definitely is a conversation on your resume, right?
I
I don't know how much
I haven't
it's
sent out
really
my
until you
resume,
start
yeah.
doing it. Like, do you really learn? But
I haven't touched my resume in six years. So. Yeah, and then I graduated in May. Charlotte graduated in December. 2 weeks later, we got married.
wow.
Now here we are, 3 years later, with a little bebe.
Yeah, man. Yeah, picture of y'all out front of your house. I saw something. That was a good one.
A little family portrait.
That was a good one. Who took that? Did you just a friend or did some professional do that?
No, Charlotte
Hired, okay.
For newborn pictures.
Gotcha.
Apparently that's something you gotta do.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. We didn't do that. No.
It's a timeless capture. Okay. Don't get me wrong. They are very good photos. I have 3 of them on
It's
my
the
desk.
first kid, too.
I guess
though.
the first
It's
kid.
the first kid, dude.
I
I mean, that's the kicker, right? Because, like, on 3, you're going to be like, photos. No, we got an iPhone, man. iPhone 20.
Yeah, here we go. I'm sorry, the iPhone 20 would be like the big camera.
Yeah.
Extendable lens. Oh, dang. Good jam. Coming back in. .806 Talk 107.3 FM mornings with Brian Haldane. Patty G filling in for Brian. Rolling into the third and final hour of the show. Super excited for our upcoming guest, Barrett Blondo with Valaya Real Estate. Good friend of mine, go back a couple years now. But before we get to talking real estate, marketing, podcasting, getting an investment, can you get a return on said investment? Jake Barty, producer, man behind the board, the switcheroo. He's got a little segment for us called This Day in History.
Good morning, everyone. You heard correctly. I am back from my vacation. You heard me before if you had tuned into the show prior to this, but if not, you're right. Jake Barty is back for This Day in History, and we're kicking things off in 1731. It's kind of an out there one.
1731?
Yes, the first U.S. music concert. It was in Peter Pelham's Great Room in Boston. First ever concert in America, 1731.
Wow. What'd they play?
I don't know. Probably classical.
Harps?
Probably classical music.
Is there any lyrics in the song? Do we have a recording? Can we listen to it?
I doubt there's a recording.
Is there an NFT out there of this first ever concert, Jake?
You know, maybe. Never say never.
If not, maybe we can make one.
We could.
I mean,
Probably. Maybe.
only a couple hundred years later, bringing it back to fruition. Can we claim as the rightful owners, though? That's my question.
I mean, it's not like anyone would challenge that.
Or would they? Well, there's no one else.
If they would, then I would be very, very shocked.
They might in the metaverse, Jake.
Okay, let's just move on. 1922. Complete change of tone here. Creation of the USSR, formerly proclaimed in Moscow. Fun fact for you.
All right.
1968. Frank Sinatra first records My Way, with lyrics that were written by Paul Anka.
Frank Sinatra.
Mm-hmm.
Timeless classic.
A lot of his songs are very, very good in his profession. Very big in that.
If you're into that sort of thing, you know. Music.
Music? 2018, we're moving way, way further in the future.
2018.
Pretty
That was a
recent.
big jump there, man.
Yeah, it's about a whole 50 years right there.
Math.
Patrick Mahomes.
What?
He becomes the second quarterback in NFL history to throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns during the Chiefs' 35-3 win over the Oakland Raiders. He achieved both marks with a third quarter 89-yard touchdown pass to Demarcus Robinson. So, I know you're not too big into sports, you were saying.
Those are still big numbers. Sports or
5,000
not.
yards and 50 touchdowns. That's pretty dang good.
Wait, 5,000 yards. That's for the season, right?
Yes.
Not for a single game.
Dude. Oh, my God. Oh, that'd be insane. I think
I don't know
that
if
would
that's
take
possible.
that would take multiple days, probably.
12 overtimes.
That'd be at least. Are you kidding me? That'd be a lot. That's actually all the events I had. It was kind of a slow day, but let's get right down to the birthdays. First up, some would argue is the GOAT. I still think it's Michael Jordan. Alas, LeBron James turns 37 years old. He's carrying the Los Angeles Lakers to a pretty mediocre campaign, if I do say so myself. But
Happy birthday, LeBron.
happy birthday, Braun. Tiger Woods turns 46.
Today's Tiger Woods' birthday?
Mm-hmm.
Send him a birthday card.
Ellie Goulding turns 35 years old. Musician, singer. Tyrese Gibson, 43. You may know him from the Fast and Furious series.
Yes.
He turns 43. Happy birthday to him. And former Philadelphia Eagles, now Indianapolis Colts quarterback Carson Wentz turns 29.
29?
29.
So young.
So young. Still has a lot left. Well, depending on injuries and stuff. But at that age for a quarterback, you still got plenty of time if you're that good. That's all the birthdays. Let's get right down to the deaths. I actually had 3. Again, bizarre. Saddam Hussein died on this day in 2006. Grigory Rasputin died on this day in 1916. And
Who is that?
Rasputin?
Yeah.
You don't know Rasputin?
No.
Bro, you got to read a book. I'm not even going to. I'm sorry. And finally, Sonny Liston passed on this day in 1970. That's all the deaths. Now let's get right down to the holidays. First up, it's National Resolution Planning Day. Have you planned your resolutions?
National Resolution Planning Day.
Yeah, today's the day to plan them.
The day.
Tomorrow is the day to not do them. And then the day after and hopefully onward is when you start doing them.
I've got a few planned. Got a few resolutions. I haven't, inked them in yet in my quill and paper, but I'm
It's
getting
still-
there.
Hey, it's the whole day. You
I got the
plenty-
whole. It's only 8:11. I got the whole day, man.
We got a lot of time.
A lot of time left in the day. A lot of time left in the 2021 to finish it out. Right? It's
Yes.
not. I mean, today's the national holiday for it, but I can still do it tomorrow. Right? I won't be penalized.
I think so. You might have to check in with like HR or something on
Yeah,
that.
I'll check in with the right people.
And the last holiday I have is National Bacon Day.
National Bacon Day.
Love some bacon.
I got to get some bacon then. I'm going to Government Taco later. Maybe I'll see if they got some bacon on their tacos.
Shout out. That is This Day in History.
Well, we actually have a birthday on the YouTube Live. Happy birthday, Renee
Happy birthday!
Smith! Woo! Happy birthday. Love interacting with you on the YouTube Live. If you're not there, people, get there. And in the words of Jake, like, share, and subscribe.
Mornings with Brian Haldane on YouTube.
Well, Jake, I think that's everything for today in history. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to have Barrett Blondo of Falaya Real Estate. We're going to talk about maybe some resolutions, now that it's National Resolution Day, that businesses can do moving into 2022. And with that, we're going to take a break and be back with Talk 107.3 FM. Byron says it was a great concert, right, Troy? We had fun. Goldilocks experience.
That's a thing.
Everything's just right.
Let's go.
What you doing for New Year's?
Any big plans? Sleeping with a newborn?
Pretty much. We'll have a very quiet New Year's. We always, I think,
Do they do fireworks
in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, like
I've done
my
it.
neighborhood, like they're already popping them.
Oh, they've been
Dude, they've
popping
been
them
popping
since
them.
Christmas.
I know, it's like you're not sure if it's a gunshot or firework.
I know. The other night, I'm laying there in bed. And Charles like, "What's that noise?" It's a firework. You sure? Yeah.
Yeah, positive.
Gun has a longer ring.
Absolutely positive.
Gun has a longer ring to it. More of an echo. So no, not too many big plans. What about y'all?
No, we're not doing anything, man. We're just chilling.
We used to do big New Year's Eve bashes at my parents' house. Whenever I was in high school and college, and like we would fire up their pizza oven, have like probably 50 or 60 people over at my parents' house, and shoot fireworks all night. And I think we stopped that right before I got married. Yeah. I think the year of our wedding is when we stopped.
We used to do. We have a house in the French Quarter, and we have huge parties on the balcony and all that.
Gosh,
A couple times when LSU was playing in the championship, we would have that party and then stay in New Orleans all the way through the championship. You know,
Heck yeah.
that one year they got rolled by Alabama.
Rough year.
It was a lot of fun, but it kind of went downhill once the game got going. But,
Oh, I'm sure.
but yeah, those parties were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You
You're
can
like-
see the fireworks too off of the balcony because they shoot fireworks on the river right there in New Orleans, just like here, and you can see them. So
Yeah, I feel like there's in one lifetime you have like the crazy New Year's Eve parties when you're in high school and college.
right,
Then if you get married, you still have them. And then like by the time you have your first kid, like now, like we're gonna
Yeah.
have chill New Year's Eves for a while. Then it's like once your kids get old enough, then you go back to having the crazy New Year's Eve parties.
no doubt.
Like there's a break.
There'll be a gap. Yeah, there'll be
Yeah,
a-
there's a gap in between the fun and kind of relaxing New Year's Eve parties.
See, for me now, it's like, dude, struggle bus. Like, go and do that. Like, I feel it for like a week. You know,
I was in bed last night.
like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't hang.
I was in bed at 8:45.
Yeah, right.
No, we stayed up watching Big Bang for like an hour or so and holding the baby, trying to get him to go to sleep. But yeah, like my late nights have become far and few in between.
Big Bang and Friends, baby.
So-
Julie's really into Friends. She's like a Friends fanatic.
Julie, I've watched Friends, I think maybe once or twice all the way through. But I'm still so mad that Office is on Netflix.
Yeah.
Love.
Oh,
Is it
it's
on Peacock now?
But I mean, I think
how would
they're
they go on that? I guess they got paid, huh? They got bought. Yeah. I'm sure they all got a good paycheck.
Mhm. 817 Talk 107.3 FM. Mornings with Brian Haldane, substituted with Patty G. We are here in hour number 3. Hour to go with the show. We've got Barrett Blondo in the studio with us to talk about Falaya real estate, the market, but a different spin on his business that he's going with in 2022. A podcasting studio for a real estate for a real estate app. Boggles me why somebody would do such a thing. But we've got Barrett in here to defend himself and to talk about everything they've got going on. So Barrett, welcome to the studio, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely. I was like, who can I have on to talk about exciting things going on in the new year? I'm like, I just saw this man built a full-on podcasting studio with video, audio, live streaming, everything, man.
Right.
So before we get to the why, what is Falaya Real Estate for those that don't know?
Yeah, so we're a real estate app that's driving efficiency, transparency, and control into the process for homeowners. We do that through real estate forms automation with digital signatures, making it easy for anyone to execute the documents they need to do, kind of like TurboTax for real estate. And then we pair that with virtual realtor appointments on demand to drive more efficiencies in the process. And then we have listing prices starting at $399 up to full service listings to give consumers more control over the sale of their property. And so we've really seen a lot of success over that. We saved homeowners over $700,000 in the first 18 months and sold over 100 homes in that time frame.
That's incredible. So it's all about saving those closing costs, saving those realtor fees for the homeowners.
Yeah, it is, but it's also about giving efficiencies for realtors, right? So, the problem is that real estate agents run around and do a lot of work for free, and they don't get paid for it, and that keeps the costs extremely high because they have to make up for it on the other deals that happen very quickly. So the way we're looking at it is if we can do some more on demand and connect consumers and homeowners directly when they need it and drive more efficiency, and a realtor can make $250 today by taking a phone call, then the agents can lower the cost on the back end on the traditional side of things. So and they can pay their car note, their house note, all that stuff by making those on demand services in real time.
Right, they don't have to worry about having to wait for so long before that commission check
Exactly.
comes in.
That's the thing that a lot of people, the high performers make a lot of money, but the normal run of the mill agents might go a month and not have a deal, right? And so that'll allow them to continue to work and grow experience and deliver service to consumers.
Yeah, I mean, with the world of people living paycheck to paycheck, imagine if your paycheck to paycheck is a month apart.
Right.
Can you budget well enough to live a month without having any income coming in?
No doubt. And that $250 you make with a phone call with Falia might be the difference, or take 2 or 3 of those a week and you made $1,000 this week, So that could really change up the game for realtors if they really understand what we're trying to do here. It's not all against realtors. It's about creating the real estate process more efficiently, right? There's just so much waste in the process, and that's what Falia is focused on.
I love that. And so you've actually been on the Patty G Show. We had a full-on show with you. So if you're interested in listening and learning more about Falia, go check that episode out. But I saw that you were doing something, and you've kind of been developing this and building this over the last, month or so maybe?
Yeah, about that with
the a podcasting booth.
Right. It's a podcasting booth, right? So the kicker is, right, so we're trying to create efficiencies in the process, right? So we've got to educate homeowners on what to do when. Homeowners think they know how to sell a house, but they don't really. And so the podcast is going to help give them the information they need to move them through the process more efficiently. With our HubSpot automation and some of the deal flows, we can give them the information when they need it and where they need it. And we're going to use the podcast to kind of film some of that content with title companies, lenders, and those type of people to get some of that information out there to them.
So this morning in the first hour, we talked about moves and steps to take to better your business into 2022. And one of them was the social media presence, right? So getting your company in whatever facet you can out there to the consumers, to the end users,
right,
with content creation, social media marketing campaigns, with the digital age that we're in. That's kind of the way and the avenue that everybody has to be going. And y'all are doing exactly that within the podcasting world, whereas you're going to be recording this audio content that can then be clipped up into short form pieces of content. You can have photos from it. You can write a little article about it. You can do a blog post. So how is it kind of come to that for your company to make that decision?
So it's just extremely important to be out there making a brand for yourself. In this day and age, that's just the fact, right? No matter what business you're in, and those snippets are what we're looking for. I mean, are people really going to sit down and listen to the whole hour? Probably not.
Maybe.
Maybe. Come on, listen. I mean, we're kind of entertaining, but the snippets are where it's at, right? The Facebook clips, the Instagrams, and then if we can send those clips that are really informational to homeowners when they need them, they might be able to make better decisions on how to sell their property or list their property or get a sale or close a deal, right? And
and even to that effect with the clips, if you've got these short little videos, now you can embed that in your app, right?
That's right.
Whenever you're going through, whenever you're going through the process of how to buy a home, how to make an offer, you can pull from the podcast episode and have that as an embedded video that now I'm like, ooh, how to make an offer. Click, boom. Oh, there's a podcast video.
That's exactly right. So we've already filmed 3, which was our welcome video, our thank you video, and why Falia video. Literally already did that. Like in the studio. In the studio. So we were already processing that. We've got a green screen too. So so you're exactly right. Like that's what the deal is, right? And so how can we do that efficiently? And you're right on the money. That's exactly what we're thinking.
So this is for some businesses, this can be quite a hefty investment, right? For those that, you've got your consultation fees to get somebody out to the space where you want them to go and to kind of build it out, right? So
Right.
they've got to figure out, hey, if you're not an audio expert, which if you're running, a plumbing company, maybe you're not. Or if you're running, a paint company, maybe you're not an audio expert. Or maybe you are. Maybe you were a DJ back in high school like myself. Maybe you know some things. But if you don't, then you've got to pay this consultation fee. Then you've got to buy equipment.
Sure.
Now you've got to buy settings. I mean, you can't just, unless you're having a standing podcast with microphones only and, you're just recording standing up. But y'all's is a really cool space with chairs, a comfy vibe. You've got a window hanging up in the background with some curtains. I'm like, man, is that a real window?
We're gonna backlight that window. I haven't done it yet.
It took me a hot second to realize it was not a
ideas.
real window.
yeah. It was only like $80
For the window?
The whole window and the setup right there. I mean, it's not that bad, and it creates a lot of talk, right? So the bottom line is you got to make it interesting. We're trying to create a brand that actually is impactful, that looks professional, that can be investable and grow outside of Baton Rouge. Like we're in New Orleans, we're in Mandeville, we're in Shreveport, we're in, across the state of Louisiana, and then expanding out to the southeast, hopefully. So we want it to be professional and we want it to be good. And really, if we pick up one listing out of the deal, that's a full service or a 1%, it's going to pay for itself. So that's the way I look at it, is that the investment will return. There's no doubt about it. Also, the biggest thing for us and for me is creating a avenue where we actually learn to do this stuff, right? Not hiring Flashbang or any of these other people to do it every time, but actually integrating it into the people that were working for me and myself so that we can then execute and go and grow, and it becomes embedded in our company, part of our DNA.
Right.
Right.
It's no longer just an outsource or
Correct.
a hire to create
That's the
this
biggest
content. Now you've got your own content creation department and your own
That's
business.
Right. That's right.
And it is a significant investment up front.
Right.
But like you said, you're trying to build a brand that goes outside of Baton Rouge.
Exactly. And if I go and I try to record a commercial or try to hire somebody outsourced to do that, man, if I did two things, I would pay for it, right? So
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? So really, at the end of the day, getting that in your DNA and knowing that you're going to have to, everybody's going to need at some level be a media company, that you need to ingrain that in your organization, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the traditional avenues of advertising, the traditional avenues of marketing, your paper ads, your video ads, your TV ads, your billboards, they're all created by an advertising agency or a marketing company, right? Rarely do you find businesses such as Falaya that takes the time to invest into an internal marketing division that is solely focused on content creation.
Right.
Like their whole purpose is to create the content instead of hiring people to come in and create that content. But you now have it in perpetuity, right?
Right. But see, I have hired people to help me, and I've realized that's okay. I got good product, but I was like, I want to tweak that. Ooh. So we're learning and we're growing. We're still not. We're not Coca-Cola yet. We're not walk-ons, Canes. We don't have a message 100% honed in. We know what we want to say every day, all day. So we've got to be able to ebb and flow and be able to change the content easily and quickly. So I can't just go and hire someone outsource, because then I'm going to have to go back and hire them next week because I might change what I'm going to say.
You're hiring them every week.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So what's you see what I'm saying? We're young, so our messaging is different. It's going to change. We're learning. We're growing. And so.
And you're paying, a couple $100 an hour to a company to come in, which rightfully so. Their rates. It's not like we're not bashing their rates by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
We're just saying from a cost perspective, as a business, you've got a couple $100 an hour to have a whole organization come in and film your product, or you pay somebody $25-$30 an hour.
That's right, and that's
you have a full-time person.
We have an editing guy now, and we have
if you have a full team that you're paying, the cost in the long run, because you can come in every day.
That's right.
And you can film it, and you work. If you know they're going to be there from 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, whatever the hours, the business operation hours are, you as a business owner can walk in and say, "Hey, I've got something on my chest. Let's record. Fire up the mics, fire up the studio. Let's get it going." and you get it right then and there when it's fresh in your head, fresh in the moment. You come out of your shower, you've got those thoughts.
That's right.
You want to know, you know what you want to say.
That's right. You got
Whereas
those.
instead of scheduling it out for a couple weeks, now you've got to work with their
Plus, you're
schedules.
excited about it, and you're excited about it.
Exactly.
When you get on camera and exciting comes across, it definitely is the whole thing, right? And it definitely puts a vibe into our team, right? So it definitely raises the team up and gets them excited. So it's a lot of everything, right? Built into it, but we're really excited about what we got going on. I know it's going to be the right move, but it is risky. It is risky, but it's all risky.
It's a big risk.
It's all risky, right? So like, if I wasn't going to be risky, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd just be, showing up to work. I wouldn't be here talking to you. I'd be.
And that's what I think it also shows, outside of just Falaya being risky and Barrett being risky, is that there's an appetite for this type of media, this type of content creation right here in Baton Rouge, right?
Oh, for sure. No
there,
doubt.
there
You
is an
see it.
appetite for something like this.
No doubt. Your show, a couple other people, there's a lot of people doing some cool stuff that are creating content, and I think that's extremely important. And that's really, honestly, the future of everything, right? Is creating that brand and that following, and especially with us, we need a movement, right? A Falaya movement is what we talk about, because we are a low cost provider, and we need that referral network and people to talk and tell other people about us.
Exactly. So we've got a minute left before the break. When we come back, I want to kind of further expound on the content creation avenue, but take a different look at, is it possible to create too much content? Is there a potential for an oversaturation of your message getting out there? I want to get Barrett's take on that, but I want to also look at, from a logistical standpoint, is it that tricky to get something like this off the ground? Is it that expensive to get something like this off the ground? Is there maybe some room in the market for someone to create a space like this here in Baton Rouge? Is there a space that maybe the new marketing agencies start creating podcasts for people? All very interesting things. We're going to get to it right after the break here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. I'm Patty G, filling in for him on Talk 107.3 FM.
So have they launched their thing here? Do they have theirs? Okay. They have a version of it, right?
Well, so
I heard they did. I mean, no, I know that, but weren't they written it out yet, or have they?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Producing, like, it's gonna be, we're gonna get it set up. Like, Cody kind of gave us a rundown on what to do, and we're gonna play with it. You can always bring in somebody, but as of right now, we're gonna try with our team. So, yeah, but we have somebody to edit, like on the back end. Like, we've got editing down. So, capturing. We've set it up. It looks dope, right? So I mean, I think it's going to come out fine. Will there be some learning curves there? Probably. But I'm just going to hire some. Mm-hmm. It's in my actual office, so my desks are desk, and then podcast. I mean, it's even when you think of this, though, Patty G. Like when I take a call with an investor or anybody, and it's a Zoom call. Guess what my backdrop is? So, you know, and people walking by the tech park,
I see it.
they're talking about it. You know what I mean?
It's a topic of conversation.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's something. You know, I mean, it definitely gets people talking. So, and that's what you want. That's the whole point, right?
That's the drive.
It is. But it's dude, I want to that's the other thing, and I didn't want to bring that up on. I'm probably gonna rent it out, rent it out to people that want to use it, and just pay a couple $100 here, you know, and pay for one mic, 2 mics, 3 mics, and get to the point where the cost is almost absorbed. And then if I get one listing, then it's paid for. I mean, it's gonna be. I'm gonna get. It's gonna be fine. So it's like.
Even then, you got to look at it. What would have been your cost to hire somebody to record those videos for your app?
Right.
Like, and then once you know that, now you start amortizing that out of the cost of the studio.
I know. I would
And it's
agree.
like, oh, you know, you've already filmed 3 videos. How much would that cost you?
3 videos would have cost me probably almost like $2,500 if they had done it with posts and everything. Yeah.
So then, how much
You
did
know?
it cost you? How much was the labor that cost you? And then now, okay, it cost you $500 in labor.
Right.
Well, now 2,000 of your total spend, if it was 10 grand,
Right.
2,000 of your total spend has now been absorbed.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And now you've only got
It's a
8,000
no-brainer.
left to use.
It's a no-brainer if you start thinking of it like that. But most people don't think of it like that. They don't. They, you know.
Well,
like-
and that's where I kind of want to go with this next segment. Is like I don't want to get into the specifics of what you spent and all, but like, you know, ballpark is you can have different tiers of studios.
no, for sure. Like you could have.
You can spend well into $250,000. On a
Oh
studio.
yeah, you can. Yeah.
If you start getting way crazy out of it.
No, we didn't do anything that crazy. Ours is just middle of the road. Like our cameras aren't even. We don't have the Sony 7. You know, we have the 6400, which is a lower. I mean, it still shoots in 4K, and it still
better than
shoots.
a-
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but it's only a $600 camera instead of a $1,800 camera. So it's you know, I mean.
Then you can upgrade it with time.
But exactly, if it really starts working, then I go and I sell those to somebody and pick up the other ones. Yeah, I mean, well, if it really starts working, then we'll invest more. And exactly. And at this point, you can't. You saw the photo. You can't tell. I mean, honestly, you can't tell really. I mean, maybe a pro can, but I don't think you can tell.
Well, I think what Flash did so well is set you up so even the pros look at it and go, all right, they got some pretty good stuff.
Right.
Like, you got the Shure SMB7s in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to get a good mic. I would
gotta-
say
you
the
gotta-
mic
you gotta-
is
you gotta rotate
the mic
it
is
in there.
important. The mic is important, right?
You got bomb and lighting set up in there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it looks heck of good.
Dude, it took us like 5 hours, 6 hours to set it up.
That's it. I thought it was.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, we were 4 people running around there.
$8:37 a.m. Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk. Right here with Mornings with Brian Haldane. Patty G sitting in for Brian while he is on his in-between holiday season vacation. Rightly so. Man deserves every second of vacation he's got for how hardworking he is in this place. We are here with Barrett Blondo from Falaya Real Estate. We are talking podcasting. We are talking real estate developments. We are talking investing in your brand for the new age. Getting your brand out there on social, getting your brand out there in front of the people. Social media channels may come and go. Your Instagram may not be here. Your Facebook may turn into Meta, and we all may go into the digital age workspace. Who knows? But what is going to be there forever is the brand of your business. And as you contemplate on this National Day of resolution making, look at your inner workings of your brand. Look at the inner workings of your company. Figure out what ways, in addition to streamlining and automating systems, how can you establish, if you haven't already, a footprint for your brand? And if you already have an established footprint, how can you further push that envelope of getting your company before and in front of those potential customers, those potential investors, maybe, if you're a new company? How can you go about doing that? Barrett is doing that with Falaya. He just put in an incredible podcasting space that is going to change the way that not only he creates content for his brand, but what I want to get into it with him is maybe changing the mentality of those business owners, maybe changing the way that old media and new media collide, maybe having marketing companies and businesses look at themselves internally and say, hey, is this really the best product we can offer our clients? Is it really the best product by selling them a paper ad? Is it really the best product by putting up a billboard? Maybe we need to venture out and start doing something new. Well, Barrett's doing that with podcasting. And he's doing that in a way with film, photos, audio, live streaming even, all the above, with nothing more than a $50 frame, right?
Yeah, right.
No, so you've got what I would kind of classify as right almost at a state-of-the-art studio, you know?
Right.
You didn't go and blow the bank and
Right.
spend $250,000 building a studio, but you built something that is going to produce stellar content with stellar quality laced in to that content.
Yeah, we definitely, we got, consumer pro slash materials, so we're not quite on the high end, but we're in the decent end of things and making it look good, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, for someone doing it themselves, like
Right.
you've got all of good gear to make it happen.
no doubt. And I mean, I think it's important. Really, the audio is the biggest one, right? So the mics and
That's
stuff. like-
podcasting, so it's kind of like having a bad microphone for radio.
Yeah, you can't do it, right?
Like if we were in the studio right now at Guarantee Media and we had some bad quality mics on the radio and the airs, it's like, oh, it's not good, but
Right.
you make the investment where it counts.
Yeah, no doubt. And we're lucky to have a good space at the Nexus Louisiana Tech Park. And so, with that, we were able to leverage the space and where we were set up at and the network that we have there to kind of grow this brand.
Yeah, and like you were saying off the air on the YouTube Live where we're taking our break, when you have a Zoom call, your background's your studio because you were able to incorporate this podcasting area into your existing office space.
That's
So you didn't have to go and rent new office space. You just had to reimagine how you had the desks in the room.
Well, we actually did move from one office to the other office because I knew that I needed the space because you need depth of field, right? That's the
Right.
key. The only difference on like podcasting, you really need depth of field for the visual side of things. It's hard when you're up close to get that same feeling. So we moved into a slightly bigger space, not much, but enough to accommodate it, right?
Yeah, and even within that sentence there for the video aspect of a podcast, when you think about radio, everybody always says, oh, you've got a great face for radio because you never see us.
Right.
You're in your car or you're listening to us on your computer or the old, actual box radio sets. You're listening. There's no visual component of it.
Right.
And now we've got, a single
YouTube.
camera in the studio here for YouTube Live.
That's right.
Whereas podcasting's kind of got that same knack, right? It's always audio first. People are recording audio so you can listen to it on your Spotify, your Amazon Music, your iTunes, wherever. But whenever you say video podcasting, that in of itself is changing the way podcasting's done. And radio, for that matter, is adding that video element, which is so key to when you're looking at your content creation and now taking those clips.
Yeah.
And so changing that mindset, was it a challenge or was it always something you knew had to happen?
It's kind of something I always knew had to happen because the way people are consuming media now, right? People are consuming media on their cell phones, social media, YouTube. There's a lot of over-the-top OTT and CT connected TV that people are starting to go to. So there's just so many different avenues to connect the consumer now. So we know that we've got to get our message out there about, how Falaya is disrupting the real estate space and giving consumers more power and control over the process. And the only way we knew to do that was to create more and more visual content. And it's those snippets, those little tiny things. And I think that's the way the future is going to be, right?
Oh,
I think it's going to be
100%.
a mimic of things, right? So you need radio, you need print, you need this, but I would say those companies that are providing the services also need to provide video content. Like I sat down with some people. I'm not going to drop names, but if they start to create video content for their advertisers, and they also sell traditional advertising on top of it, I think that is where the future is going to go, right? So you mimic both the visual with the traditional.
You got to have that hybrid model
You do.
of
I'm
content
telling
and
you.
marketing, because when you look at how video used to be created, you had to go to a studio, pay thousands and thousands of dollars to film a TV ad, right?
Right.
All these big cameras, this big bulky equipment to film everything, whereas now a savvy person with an iPhone 13 Pro,
You can go with a backpack, like
or even an iPhone, you can go and get a good film. You put on a little fluff ball wireless mic, a little Rode wireless mic, and you have them out in the public, and you're filming with your iPhone. You can still create good quality content that people just have to look at it when you're looking at your business marketing plan going into next year. Think about how you can change that creative outlook, right? Think about how you can adapt some of these practices. I'm not saying, go out and build a $10,000, $20,000 podcasting studio. Now, if you have the money and you really want to go and get all risky in it, go for it. But if you're looking to just take maybe a small step, I would say that iPhone and, something simple just to make it.
Very easy. I mean, there's an iPhone. You could do an iPhone with a Rode GoPro and 2 lav mics. And they sell those where they actually have 2 inputs now, where you could literally hook up an iPhone with an extension and then a Rode GoPro and 2 lav mics. I would say you would be all in for $300 and a little tiny stand, and you maybe be all in for $350, and you could shoot.
Yeah,
and record with good audio and do it anywhere.
Yeah,
literally in your pocket and walk and go, right? And so there's an opportunity for that, and we've got a pack to go to if we go to New Orleans at the Idea Village, or we go to Baton Rouge Entrepreneur Week, we're going to bring stuff like that with us so that we can film content with people that are there. And
you can get a live take on what's happening. You can have that content. Trade shows.
Trade shows are extremely important for everybody that's listening. If you're going to a trade show, you need to be filming. You need to be creating content with people that are providing inside that trade show, talking to consumers, all that type of stuff, and getting your message out there and letting people know that you're at a trade show, what you do, how you do it, and that's why it's extremely important.
Yeah, and otherwise you have to hire somebody to do that, right? If you just have a single person dedicated to doing something like that, if you are looking for that next hire to take your brand to the next level, and you are investing heavily into marketing, using an organization or something, maybe take a gander at hiring somebody full time. I'm not saying you have to pull a Gary V and have somebody film you 24/7.
No.
If like for a realtor, it's actually not a bad idea, right? If you're going into showings, a lot of them do.
Trey Willard
from the W Group. He was a previous guest on my show.
Because it was funny when you interviewed him. It was like he said he bought all the gear, and then he ended up realizing he needed to hire somebody. And I did the exact same thing, like, I'm going to tackle the world by myself. And
you can't.
You need somebody else to help you a little bit.
As a business owner and entrepreneur, your skills are set in moving the business forward.
That's right.
It's maybe not the best set behind the camera,
no.
Unless you're a content creation company and a media company. Maybe you are best behind the camera. But for those that are, your law firms, your accounting firms, your real estate companies, your restaurants, your chefs, your plumbing companies, your bricklayers, your pool manufacturers.
The key of that is to film when you're working, what you're doing, right?
Yes.
Like Sheffy is filming himself going to his construction site. He's probably spends 10 seconds to do that. Or
he does a quick walkthrough, put some music to it.
Put some music to it. You've seen that, and I actually know who did that. They did a really good job on it, right? So it's really not hard. Just film what you're doing when you're doing it at a trade show or at work or at a job. Contractors is a really easy deal. Right?
It's super easy, and like we said before, like the iPhone is your best friend when it comes to that. If you don't have a budget to go out and buy some big equipment, hire somebody to do it. Guess what? LSU have students Looking for internships?
They do.
Get an
We already
intern.
have-
You
we're
can
on-
offer course credit through an internship at LSU. A little hint there. But hire somebody like that who knows how to work a phone that can record something like that and capture you doing it. Don't ask yourself, will someone watch this? Is this valuable? Who cares? Document your process. Put it out there for people to see.
That's right.
It's like a photographer, right? They're trying to sell their business.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to sell their stuff on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. They're giving out lookbooks. They're giving out sample packets. Here's my digital resume. Well, as a company and a brand, your digital resume is your social media.
Right.
People do business with you because of what they see.
The first thing, and it's not even only for businesses. It's also for people that we're trying to employ, right? I mean, we go on their social media.
Exactly.
Especially if you're a marketing or content creator and I'm trying to hire you for that job, you better have a resume that I can look at and see instantly. And a portfolio of content that you've created, right? If that's what you want to do.
If that's the avenue you want to go. We're not saying, you're not going to look for people with 20, 30,000 followers because they have this great story. But all right, so we've got 30 seconds left. We're going to have one more segment after the break. I love taking this avenue of changing the mindset for those in business, changing the mindset for how you look at your marketing plan rolling into 2022. We're going to have one more segment of this coming back after the break. I'm Patty G, sitting in for Brian Haldane on Mornings with Brian Haldane, right here on Talk 107.3 FM. All right, this next segment's like 4 minutes.
Short.
Very short. Yeah, no, Sheffy does some great sandwiches.
Well, he's got that. Actually, I interviewed the guy that filmed his stuff for him, and I was actually going to. Yeah,
that one video
I know who it is. Yeah, I know who it is. I actually was going to get him to do my commercials at one point, and then I didn't. So, anyway. But he's obviously pretty good. He does good work. So.
It doesn't take much doing a walkthrough of what you got going on.
It's really not hard.
No, if you work on computers and you clean them up, whether it be actually cleaning them up or getting off viruses and everything, get you a little still camera.
Right.
Like from a cooking show, an overhead.
That's right.
Thing. You put that stuff on TikTok.
Well, that's the thing. Did you hear what Matthew Armstrong? What happened with him?
Yeah, what happened?
He went viral, dude.
For
Cutting lawn, because people love watching. They love watching that type of stuff where you're doing something that's repetitive and it's sensual. It's called they have a marketing term for it now. It's sensory marketing. So, people love to see that type of stuff, like a straight edge on a grass. I mean, people will watch it. They're just you know what I mean? And so he got in
painting, same thing.
I'm telling you, I think it was millions of views he had on it. I don't know if it turned into business or how it worked out, but bottom line, a lot of people heard about him.
A lot of people saw it.
A lot of people saw it.
Even if it was 1% conversion.
Yeah.
1% on a million views?
I mean, it's definitely something, TikTok's really, people don't, I don't really know as much about it. Jacob does. He's on the team, but we got him doing it. But it definitely is an interesting avenue because the way it can go viral, it's different. The way they have the algorithm is, right? So you can go viral quicker.
They're starting to get flooded with more and more sponsored segments.
Well, they just launched that.
They just launched that. And so they got more ads on there. So it's starting to get cluttered like Facebook is. But
they got to pay for They got to pay for all the hosting and all the sites. Once you start it gets expensive, man.
Well, then they pay you as a creator. Once you reach a certain level and you have so many views, you start getting. I mean, it's little, but if you're getting millions and millions of views, you're gonna make a couple of $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even making a couple $1,000 a month, just creating content.
Well, no. So I read an article on what it takes to make $100,000 YouTube channel, and it is not even that many followers. I think it was think it was a YouTube channel only needed like 4,000 followers or 20. Yeah, like if you get above 2,500, you can start making money.
Yeah, I was looking
I mean, 2,500
YouTube
followers on YouTube, and you're gonna start making money.
as long as you're consistently putting out.
Yeah.
You got to consistently put it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about consistency. You know that. Why do you think you were doing it every week? You're like, oh, God, now I got a baby, though. I don't know.
I'm trying to look at it, too. But I had somebody text me last night. I didn't realize it went through. But he was like, yeah, man, he's like, it's weird seeing you on my TV. Like, how are you watching the show? Like, how are you consuming the show?
YouTube on TV, right?
He said, oh, no, you had it on. I put it on Spotify on my TV. He says, and then I got to an episode of yours that was video on Spotify.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
That's interesting.
I got approved for a Spotify video
That's
a month ago.
interesting.
They only did because Joe Rogan was the only one, and they had 10 people, and then they selected 1,000, and so I got selected.
Congratulations. That's
So,
cool.
He was like, yeah, I had it on Spotify. Like I went on. He's like, and then I got it on episode 100, and I was like, he was like, then the video was there, and I was watching it. He's like, and then I just sat down. He's like, I watched the whole thing from start to finish. I was like,
That's so
you
cool.
serious?
That's cool.
He was like, yeah. He was like, it then turned.
That's what I'm
into
trying to say with the
me sitting
connected
down.
TV earlier and OTT. Like that's the future with that. Is all the apps on your TV that are gonna be like
Dude, I was on my phone last night watching.
the TV is gonna become the iPhone, and the iPhone's gonna.
I was watching something on I was on Facebook, and I was like, stream to your TV. Like, click here to stream to your TV. I was like,
That's right, and you could just do it from your phone to there.
well, and now.
But it's also apps are gonna live on a TV too. It's gonna be
Well,
just
now you got the voice remotes. They're selling
Yeah.
people to use voice more. You can go in your home and say, Alexa, play the Patty G show, and she'll start playing the Patty G show. Now, how long is
Thank
it?
you,
How
Alexa.
long is it until you go smart TV, play the Patty G show, and it pops it up there? Now, my thought then goes to, which medium are they going to play it from?
well. That's the trick.
Whichever one pays
That's
them the most
that's the
money.
trick. That's the trick of the whole thing, right? And that'll constantly change, which will irritate you because it's like.
Everyone pays the most money. Like I do all the surveys. Anytime a hosting site sends me an email to do the surveys, I always fill them out. And then Amazon sent me one that was like, would you be interested in doing exclusively on Amazon Music? I was like, for the right price.
For the right price.
8:56 Talk 107.3 FM mornings with Brian Haldane, Patty G in the studio filling in for Brian. Our last segment to go on the show, the last show of the year for me before we get into 2022. Some final thoughts we're going to leave you with in this segment before we wrap up. We got roughly, 2 or 3 minutes to go. So moving into 2022, today is National Resolution Day. Barrett, what resolutions do you think businesses should have going into 2022? By the way, this is Barrett Blondo, for those of you just tuning in from Falai Real Estate.
Hey guys. Yeah. So, I mean, I obviously think you need to get your brand out there and definitely get your message out there and try to cut through the noise. It's been hard with COVID and everything that's going on to get your message out there. I think that was one of the hard things we launched in 2020 and tried to cut through the noise at that point. But I think doing that with our podcast, we're trying to get the message out there about how we can save homeowners thousands and thousands of dollars and how we can, be more efficient in the real estate process.
Yeah, I think for any business, that brand awareness, innovating on your already existing processes, making them either automated or more efficient should be a focus for 2022.
Yeah, the transaction for us, it's all about creating efficiencies in the transaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So business process efficiencies and moving consumers from listing a house to the sale efficiently and effectively, connecting them to who they need when they need it, right? And that's what business owners need to do too, because times are interesting, so efficiencies are going to become key.
Efficiencies, ease of connectivity.
Right.
Remote working's more and more prevalent. It's not going away.
Well, that's why we have the virtual realtor appointments, right? Is we know that's going to be the case moving forward.
Yeah. And being able to change the way you think about things and look at it from a new angle, I think is going to be something that business owners need to focus on
Right.
in 22 is what can we do to go against the grain? What can we take that has been traditional over the years and make it our own?
Right.
How can we get a new outlook on business? How can we get a new outlook on transactions, maybe hiring employees? Earlier in the show, we talked about employers automatically enrolling new hires in the 401k program. You know, reevaluating your benefits you offer as the employer is something you can do. And for people looking to get into something in the world of business, the tools are there. The resources are there.
They are.
In this day and age of technology, it's easier and easier to get a business off the ground. If you want to do something as a hobby and turn it into something that makes profit, now's the time. Make those resolutions, reevaluate, you know, what you want to do with your time. Time is never guaranteed. We don't have tomorrow. We only have today. You know, we got to look forward to putting into place those next steps, making the change if we want to. You want to keep doing the same thing, keep doing the same thing. But I don't know of anybody that wants to stay stuck in the same routine, stuck in the mud, as they say. So, everybody, I hope y'all have a safe and happy New Year. Barrett, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody else, for tuning in. This is Mornings with Brian Haldane. I am Patty G. I hope you'll have a great rest of your day. Boom. Done.
Good job, guys.
Thank you all, YouTube. Y'all have a fun day and have a happy, happy New Year. Also, check out Fly Real Estate.
Oh, yeah. Fly.com.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on, man. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, man. You got to fill up. How many? 4 hours? Is it 4? No, 3.
This?
3.